I'm back. Oh shit, I missed the. Oh fuck. Wait, is it starting?
Any of this is
Oh shit, it's
real.
happening.
And in all seriousness,
Found the monsters. I had to. Couldn't find the fucking
Don
bag
Lemon
I put them in.
was part of a group that stormed into
I
a
like
church
dropped it by
that
my
potentially
couch.
violated the FACE Act and the KKK Act. Harmeet Dillon of the DOJ said they are going to pursue charges, and Don Lemon's claim of it's just journalism-ing won't cut it, because there's potentially conspiracy charges in here as well. This is a wild story. Now, a lot of people think it's not going to happen. They're not really going to charge the guy.
Let's go.
I don't know if I'm so sure. I mean, Harmeet Dillon is not screwing around. If there's anybody I think in the DOJ actually wants to make moves, and Harmeet Dillon's specialty being
who the fuck is that?
Of 1A and religious freedom.
Harmeet Dillon.
A lot of people are arguing that Don Lemon's this is free speech. Wrong. Don Lemon being part of a group that broke into a church violates 1A. It is not 1A itself, like he tried to claim. But we're gonna get into all that. Plus, holy crap, everything going on in Minneapolis. The New York Times published a story, an opinion piece saying, in Minneapolis, I glimpsed a civil war. They've changed the headline. I think people are a little shocked by it.
She was the Waha Guru lady from the RNC.
The storming of a church, as already mentioned.
They could have beat the shit out of every person in that church and nothing would happen.
Telling them to pull over.
That's crazy.
There's a video of engineers being accused of being ICE agents. They harass and beat a random guy for simply supporting ICE. It is getting absolutely insane. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Before we do, my friends, make sure you go to castbrew.com and pick up some delicious Cast Brew coffee. Now, of course, everyone's favorite Appalachian
quartering
Nights.
coffee?
It's a delicious dark blend. I blended this myself.
Delicious.
No, we got a bunch of samples.
I know what I like.
I mixed them around, found the appropriate measurements, and then I said, this is it. And this wasn't even supposed to be our flagship. It was meant to be just kind of like my choice. We actually wanted the Rise with Roberto Jr. to be our lead, brand. And then this took off. And then Ian comes in and says, I want a low acidity coffee. So we brewed that, and it took off. So check out Appalachian Nights Graphene Dream. We also have the flavored Highlanders Grog Rum Runners Roast. Definitely check that one as well.
Rum Runners Roast.
Delicious. But more importantly, smash the like button.
Can you mute it when Tim talks? Unmute when Nick talks. That's too much work.
Just take the URL, send it to grandma, send it to your niece and nephew if they're old enough to watch content like this. And your next door neighbor. Go knock on their door and say, hey, are you watching Timcast?
Dude, where the fuck is Nick?
Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more, we've got Nick Fuentes.
Hi, what's going on?
Not a lot, I guess. For a lot of people, it's you. After your trip in Miami and,
Yes, after we went hard.
We pulled
up to the club. And,
Myron's getting you guys in trouble and the club's mad. And
yes, well, we got too lit. That's what happens when you have too much motion. We pull up to the club.
I think
it's an incident internationally.
It's interesting because for the size of your show, it's a big show. You have an outsized presence. So my point here is, I don't actually think you need to introduce yourself of all the people we've ever had on. Like maybe Ye, right? But who are you? What do you do for those that might not know?
Well, yeah, I'm Nick Fuentes. I do a show called America First on Rumble.
Who the hell is
Friday.
this?
I'm a live streamer, and I'm the leader of the Groyper movement.
Well, right on. We finally got you on the show. It'll be interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of angry people, but, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
You requested Ian to be here as well.
Yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah, man, we talk about fractals. We were getting into it earlier today. Maybe deeper as the night goes on.
No way. He requested Ian.
I'd like to talk about geopolitical strategy with you. I feel like some people think
they're talking about fractals earlier.
Or like the performative stuff, and they think that you're like not serious, but you're actually a brilliant strategist.
I love Nick.
As far as I can
I
tell.
love him so much, man.
I appreciate your work, man. I appreciate what you're doing.
My goat.
But I want to know more. We talk about Zionism
I love
and Israel
Ian
and
glazing
Judaism
Nick
and all
too.
of the world. Tape Brown, talk me through to the next step.
What
Thanks, man.
is going on, Patriots? We've got quite a show tonight. I'm excited, but yeah, just happy to be here. Phil, what's going on?
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's the big news from the day.
We've
got Don Lemon.
Wait, is All That Remains Timcast song?
Threat.
Timcast music?
Threat, sorry. Stands by his coverage of anti-ICE protests at Minnesota Church. So we got to slow down and go through where this all begins. And we've got a lot to break down. And this image, I think, really does exemplify it. A group of leftist extremists stormed into a church, disrupting mass and freaking a lot of people out. This photo's gone particularly viral of a scared and crying child with his parents. This is a crime, in fact, and a lot of people are calling for Don Lemon to face charges. Now, appearing on the Benny Johnson show earlier today, Harmeet Dillon confirmed they're pursuing charges and that Don Lemon has no excuse. So to set this up, After tons of people on the right said he should be charged, Don Lemon, all these leftists, but also Don Lemon, Lemon came out and said, I followed a group in and I did journalism. Well, here's what Harmeet Dillon had to say.
We will pursue charges.
We're going to kill, execute
various
that dirty
crimes that have occurred.
No,
exactly what they are, I'm not going to
lady.
flag, but the FACE Act has been mentioned as one of the predicates there. In other cases, the Biden DOJ used the Klan Act conspiracy charges tacked on to the FACE Act in the case of protests outside abortion clinics to bring much longer sentences. So there are a number of tools available to us. Who funded this? What else? What other crimes may have occurred? Was there a use of the wires or the mails in preparing for this event? Did anyone cross state lines to do this? All of those are potential predicates for additional federal charges.
Now, she goes on later. Let me see if I can jump to the part where she gets to Don Lemon specifically, which is where it gets interesting. Because initially, it's like, okay, she's just saying all of them, and he's wrapped up in this. And then let me see if I want to scroll. I should get the timestamps. There we go.
Identified. Don Lemon himself has come out and said he knew exactly what was going to happen inside that facility. He went into the facility and then he began, quote unquote, committing journalism. And as if that's sort of a shield from being a part and embedded part of a criminal conspiracy. It isn't. And so, you know, we're getting our ducks in a row. We're putting the facts together. And this is a very serious matter.
Following this, we've got a little bit more to add on to the issue as well.
I got a fishing
pole. I have the tweet pulled up. Here we go. This is what Don Lemon said in a stream before going in that people are saying is incriminating.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together, diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American
This is MAGA coded.
These are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up, and it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, I can't tell you where they're going.
So that was what he said in the beginning of the stream. He's now responded. Let's pull up his response. Don Lemon stands by his reporting, quote, "It's notable that I've been cast
him
as
up
the
with
face
Tyrone,
of a protest.
make
I was
his
covered as a
life
journalist,
hell, yeah.
especially since
Don
I
Lemon
wasn't
would
the only
hate that.
reporter there. That framing is telling. What's even more telling is the barrage of violent threats along with homophobic and racist slurs directed at me by online MAGA supporters and amplified by parts of the right-wing press. If this much time and energy is going to be spent manufacturing outrage, it would be far better used investigating the tragic death of Renee Nicole Good, the very issue that brought people into the streets in the first place. I stand by reporting." Now, he had made comments saying this was a First Amendment issue. Don Lemon defends storming. He says, this is what the First Amendment is about, the freedom to protest. I'm sure people here don't like it, but protests are not comfortable. Well, I got bad news for you, Don. The FACE Act says you can't protest at abortion clinics or places of worship, and it was intended to protect abortion clinics, not places of worship. So when he comes out and says this was the First Amendment doesn't protect your right to storm onto private property and disrupt what they're doing, especially protected groups. These are your rules. These are social progressive rules about protected categories. The 1A that was violated here was the churchgoers who are minding their own business on private property. So it's not going to fly. But the one point I want to bring up,
Tim, so true.
The question is this. Simply put, I'll give you a handful of scenarios. There's a bank robbery about to take place.
I'd stop it.
And a guy says on
I'd
camera,
grab the gun.
"Hey, these guys I just met are going to rob a bank. I'm going to go with them and film what they're doing as they do it."
Misunderstood.
Okay, will that person be criminally charged after the bank robbery? Absolutely. There's no question. He's going to go in. They're going to say you had advanced knowledge of a crime that was being committed. You sought to benefit yourself off it through filming whatever you were doing. That's insane. Now, if the same guy,
cool. I always liked
said,
this guy.
a
Yeah, me
bunch
too.
of people
Me
are going to
too,
go
me
obstruct
too.
the roadway. They're going to stand in an intersection and link arms together. Would that guy be charged? No, it's civil disobedience. The issue is not whether or not you had foreknowledge of a crime. It's the degree of the crime. So Don Lemon had advanced knowledge of a potential felony, conspiracy against rights, Klan Act, and he said, I am going to go in with these people onto private property without permission to film and call it journalism. So I think he is going to face charges. But the big question and the easy question now, which I can throw to Nick, is what do you think would happen if a bunch of Groypers announced they were going to storm into a synagogue and someone who was in support of the Groypers said, I'm going to go and film it all? Do you think that guy would be charged?
Absolutely, and that has happened. It's funny because the other major use of the KKK Act during the Biden admin was against Charlottesville protesters.
Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay,
Charlottesville was in 2017, and I don't know the exact year, but during the Biden admin, you had people being charged 6 years later with the KKK Act, saying because they were carrying literally just a lit torch in public, on a street, on a sidewalk, that made it intimidation. That made it a violation of the statute. They threw him in jail. And I would say that this is my frustration with the whole administration. Just put them in jail. Just arrest them. Because when Biden was president and January 6th happened and they locked people up for Charlottesville, they didn't have Merrick Garland going on Rachel Maddow and saying, well, there's a predicate and here's how we're going to justify it and blah, blah, blah. They did shock and awe. That was literally the phraseology they used. Shock and awe. We're coming in the middle of the night to the e-celebs, the influencers, and we're going to throw the book at them. And this administration, there's not like one person that's been charged in the riots, in the Obama admin, Fauci, a lot of announcements about this, that, and the other. No accountability. So I say you got to just start throwing these people in jail or you'll get more of it.
Yeah, and during the Biden administration, we saw a lot of people go to jail. Trump himself got arrested.
Good point, Tim.
His
Good
lawyers
point.
got arrested. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro
Really
went to jail
point.
for a prison. I think I don't know if it's jail or prison. It's contempt holding, so I don't know what you'd call that one. And so far we've gotten these weak charges on mortgage fraud.
Yep.
That's just potential mortgage fraud.
My concern of a reason of why you wouldn't charge these guys like Don Lemon and his cohort was that, like, what did they do? Like you were saying, Tim, if it's a bank robbery, that's one thing. If it's going on a protest on a street corner, well, that's another thing. Did they just walk in and yell and leave? Did they hurt somebody?
Let me ask you a question. If a group of people said they were going to break into your house,
Ian, listen,
because they wanted to condemn you and surprise you, and Don was like, I'm going to go in with them, is that breaking and entering?
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I'm clear here. This is a public accommodation. It's a church. So typically you can just walk in and then talk to them. However, if your intention is disruption, you're not invited in. Actually, you know what? I'll do this. A better example is the computer fraud and abuse.
Killed you right now.
This is a law that's been used to go after tons of hackers over the past 20 years, and it states unauthorized access to a server is a felony. But what is unauthorized access? It's literally been construed as if you have a URL that you could type it in and go to it, but they did not give you permission to enter it. They've literally charged people for that. So I know it's online, but the general idea is just because it's a public accommodation you can normally walk into doesn't mean you can walk in with the intention of shutting it down, filming, not getting permission, all of these things.
Understood it. It's a crime what they did. I just don't want to see people get overcharged. Well, that's my concern. Then
I'm worried about them being overcharged. True.
Like, well, they're political prisoner now, and then they have a sign with Don Lemon's face on it. And it's like, oh my God.
The people who stormed in,
guys, that'd be so annoying.
Committed a crime. This is private property, and again, progressive rules. This is a protected class. They're in a place of worship, exercising their First Amendment rights to exercise the religion as they see fit on private property with open doors. And these people said, we're going to go in, shut it down, and scream at them. Don Lemon says, I know about this in advance. I'm going to go with them. And we all know that he has sympathies and he agrees with them. That being said, I think they should face the more serious charges under the FACE Act with conspiracy against rights.
Interesting thought. Interesting thought.
I'm not going to sit here and say like Don Lemon should go to prison for 20 years or
execute that
like
fucking.
That. I think he should get a desk appearance ticket and be like, you committed a crime. He should go before a judge. They should say, Mr. Lemon, if you ever have advanced knowledge of potential felonies, I advise you not to follow them in the building. You're going to be under 6 months of court supervision. Thank you and have a nice day.
I just put a tweet into the Slack. There's a video of Don Lemon saying it's uncomfortable and traumatic, but that's what protesting is about. If the intent is to intimidate people, which is what he's trying to do by saying uncomfortable and traumatic, but he's committing a crime.
Don't make me defend Don Lemon, bro.
I'm not making you defend him.
He's talking about what they are doing, and I agree that I think I somewhat agree with Ian. You don't want to go crazy and create martyrs and rally people. Don Lemon did something wrong, but he's not an organizer. He's just he's an activist who sympathizes, and he filmed it.
But
so he should go before a judge, and the judge should be like, one more time, and we're locking you up, 6 months court supervision.
But to your point about creating martyrs, like they're going to create a martyr out of him anyways. They're going to treat this as if the left is going to treat this as if
they should all try to impress Nick more by being more based
on the First Amendment.
Of course,
that's what they do.
But are you really suggesting you think like Don Lemon should get felony charges and face more than a year in prison for?
Yes.
I don't know that he should get felony charges, but I do think that he should be charged. And I don't know that a desk, just a
court supervision usually for first offenses. On things like
something
this,
like
that, because the face act's a misdemeanor.
Okay.
So, look, for the people who stormed in,
judge needs to lynch him.
6 months minimum.
The
maybe
judge
longer.
needs to personally
it's always
fucking
wild to me
hang
that
Don
the criminal
Lemon.
justice system wants to put people in prison for a year, 2 years for things like driving on a suspended license, a year in jail.
Part of the reason why I think that they should throw the book at him, though, is because it will actually set precedent that the administration is going to come down. Right now, the administration has a very bad track record so far. People are very upset because there's so many people, like to Nick's point, there's so many people that they were expecting to get arrested. Whether or not there was justification, there's a lot of people that are like, we expected this, we expected that. They should be doing whatever they can to throw the book at them. And I'm not saying they should overcharge them. I'm not saying they should create charges. But whatever they've done, whatever they're found guilty for, they should throw the book at them.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I don't even think we're setting a new precedent. I think we're just continuing the Biden era precedent, which is, again, you have to make examples out of these people because, like, the timeline we're heading down right now is really grim. It's really grim stuff. And these leftists, like, if you can put away a few people, like, on the fringes, that's not enough. You need to send a message to these people that, like, no, look, we are going to break you.
I will kill you.
I'll give you all this, and I'm curious what you think
You're
about
liberal.
it. Don Lemon, during J6, said they're terrorist insurrectionists that should be locked up. He drew no distinction between Steve Baker and there was another journalist, literally from a local news outlet in the South. He had his big corporate camera, those old school SDI ridiculous things, and it was him and like two other Steve Baker and two other journalists. This one guy, they all got charged. Don Lemon never came out and said, "Hey guys, hold on, some of these people are journalists," as far as I know. And if he did, correct me if I'm wrong. I looked for it. I asked our AI friends to try and double check for it. I've seen nothing notable from him in that regard.
Find
his
me
attitude
Don
towards
Lemon
the J6ers
saying
are everybody who wins the same. There's no distinction of the people who weren't at the ride who walked in or the journalists who were there.
Oh, shit.
They shouldn't have been pardoned. They should have been charged. Then I say, okay, Don, I'll see you in prison.
Oh,
yeah, no,
shit.
I totally agree. And it's not even just a message to him, but to the entire left wing.
Yes.
And you're so right.
Good point.
Precedent is the word, because the reason these people are so bold, rioting, looting in Minneapolis, what they're doing right now, the reason they went into a church is because there's never any consequences for the left. There's never any accountability. With the right, and what's funny is what happens with the right, they just get the book thrown at them. There's no defense. Ashley Babbitt, was there a big discussion in the national press about was that justified? Was that overkill? No, absolutely not. But the left knows they get away with literally murder and every other thing. So I think you got to crush them. You got to make an example out of them. And then the next time people think twice and say,
Good rest in peace, Ashley
should we storm
Babbitt.
the church? You might go to jail.
Don't
like
remind
those other people.
CWC, bro. Come on.
Like, I think the fact that
Come on,
the
too
church
soon.
matters as well, because
Too
it is
soon.
doing, the left does want to intimidate people that are Christians. They do want to, and this is coming from a guy that's agnostic, right? Generally, I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I'm generally kind of an agnostic guy. And the way that the left operates, they want to do everything they can to intimidate Christians, to intimidate Catholics, because that's why they did the whole,
I'm pagan.
the Christian nationalist. This is Donald Trump's going to be a Christian nationalist. Blah 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 blah. They want to have Catholics and people of faith, they want them to be demonized, and that was why they did it. So I do think that it's important to really kind of smack this down.
Let's jump to this video. A visibly upset, that's what Timcast News calls it, a visibly concerned Don Lemon asks Minnesota AG Keith Ellison for his 2 cents on possible Klan Act charges. I would just like to stress for the dawn of this news segment the sheer irony that everyone has pointed out of Don Lemon being a gay black man facing charges on MLK Jr. Day for violating the Klan Act. This is not even, this is beyond sitcom level writing. I have no words, but
Musk
here's
is
the
right.
clip.
The funniest outcome is the one.
I don't even know what's going on these days.
Dude, Elon Musk
Can you
always
talk
wins.
to us about now?
That's what I always say.
was joking about it, saying he's never been on.
That's what I always say.
But what is this KKK Act?
Klansman.
Yeah. So the KKK Act is when people will use the threat of force and violence or force and violence to deny you your human rights, your civil rights, under the color of law. And so this is, I mean, look, it's a wild stretch and inappropriate. And the FACE Act, by the way, is designed to protect the rights of people seeking their reproductive rights to be protected, and so that people, for a religious reason, cannot just use religion to break into women's reproductive health centers.
Thank goodness.
Correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that when they wanted to pass the FACE Act, it was to stop people protesting abortion clinics. But that's a one-sided political debate. So they said, and places of worship, which wasn't really happening. That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. I don't know if you guys have heard something similar.
Says, yeah, the FACE Act, or Freedom of Access to Clinical Entrances Act of 1994, is a federal law signed by.
What's Grok got to say?
Access to reproductive health care
Yeah,
facilities.
so Grok says.
It prohibits the use of force, threats,
Thank goodness we got an expert
damage to interfere with individuals making or seeking, providing reproductive health services or exercising their First Amendment right to religious freedom.
Jacob Bull was charged under the KKK Act for robocalls. Thank goodness.
The thing you see with a video like this is, I don't know why he added under the color of law to that. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding what he's trying to say. But the left, as I think you were pointing out just in the previous segment, we know this. They're going to say whatever they have to say to justify what they're doing. That's it. So if Don Lemon could shoot a guy on Fifth Avenue and they'd say it was self-defense, even if he screamed out, "This is not self-defense, I'm going to shoot a man for no reason." They'd be like, well, he was scared. And then when it comes to, say, Jonathan Ross, the ICE agent, he absolutely was not struck by the vehicle. He had no fear. And then when you get two officials and the DHS saying, oh, he had internal bleeding, they go, so he didn't get run over. Yeah. It's like, right. They will say whatever they have to say.
Okay, how did he have internal bleeding? I don't even believe that.
He was hit.
I don't even believe that.
It wasn't bad.
That's what
Soon they're going to say it was good that he was hit. In fact, a lot
it
of
wasn't bad, but I don't care when they kill liberals.
That's why it would be so beautiful to throw the Klan Act back in their face, throw the FACE Act back in their face. Especially, I know we're running out of time here. The office might be closed, but if we can get a gay black guy charged on MLK Day with the Klan Act, it'd be a really beautiful, poetic thing. But yeah, this is what you have to do.
So pretty.
The left is literally, they ran the show for the last 6 years, and the Republicans were literally just the managed decline party. So again, utilizing these ridiculous laws that they got across the finish line, and again throwing it back in their face, there's a demoralizing effect I think that has on leftists.
So I was just watching. Have you guys seen the show 11/22/63 on Netflix?
No.
It's based on a Stephen King novel. It's the weirdest show. It's entertaining, but a guy.
That'd be epic as fuck.
And
That'd be
the guy
so
who owns the diner is
fucking
like,
epic.
my closet is a portal to 1960, and he's like, okay. And then they go back to 1960, and the guy's like, you got to stop Kennedy from getting assassinated, and he's like, why? And he's like, because then my friends wouldn't have died in Vietnam. And he's like, all right, I guess. So then he just lives in 1960 for the next few years. And then everything goes wrong. Nothing works, blah, blah, blah. You get a time travel story. And I'm just sitting here thinking, when I hear this and you're mentioning a poetic victory of getting a guy charged, a black gay guy charged with the Klan Act on MLK Day, I'm like, he should have went back in time to 1960 and said, this is what you're about to do, and show the news. And I'm just imagining, I guess I'm only bringing it because I watched the show, but imagine what it would be like if you went back to the Civil Rights Act era and said, in the future,
what are we doing?
This is the world you are creating. And they're going to be like, well, you're all a bunch of retards.
Man.
The application of law is going to be retarded.
Literally, they'd probably support it more. They'd be like, the KKK laws about arresting black people.
Dude, you would just,
I like it.
You would show them when they're about to sign the Hart-Celler Act, and you show them a Costco, they'd be like, blow it all up. Get rid of it. This is terrible.
Worse still, there's that video of the crying World War II veteran. Did you guys see this one? Where he's like, this is not what we fought for.
Yeah, literally.
He's a British guy, right?
Oh, I've seen that.
I think it was, but I could
Dude, Hitler should have won.
The hosts were trying to gaslight him. They were like,
Amen,
we'll do
Tim.
our best to live up to what you were fighting for. And he's just sitting there just confused and angry.
Yeah, well, Seamus had one of the best videos from Freedom Tunes where the woke leftists use a time machine to bring World War II veterans to the future to help them fight the Nazis.
The woke left.
And then these three young World War II soldiers are like, what's going on? And they're like, the Nazis are back. And they're like, really? And they're like, yeah, they're trying to ban gay marriage. And then the World War II vet goes, you allow gays to get married?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Times there are changing.
True.
Yeah.
Facts.
Look, like I said, they should throw the book at this guy.
Show is horrible,
man. I
man.
don't think they should be overcharged.
This show is. Why were we asking? Why were we asking him to have Nick on?
You could legitimately say that they were trumping up.
What's wrong with us?
Charges or whatever. But I do think that if there's any crimes that they've been found to commit, then they should be charged to the fullest extent of the law.
So there was a tweet at Shipwrecked Crew. For those aren't familiar, Shipwrecked Crew is a 22 years as a DOJ prosecutor and representing now January 6th clients or had. And someone said, I'd love for a Shipwrecked Crew to weigh in on this. I have no doubt Planned Parenthood would push the DOJ as hard as possible to prosecute any arguable FACE Act violation. To which Shipwrecked responded, I'm 100% sure it is coming. Religious liberty is an issue that Harmeet Dillon was extensively involved in as part of her private practice. Defense of religious liberty is a big issue for her as she has the FACE Act to use. Yep. This is her area. And they're saying it's a violation of 1A on Don Lemon's part. No. I know I mentioned this in the previous thing, but I'll say it again. Don Lemon.
Oh shit! They're calling Letitia
lesser
in.
than the activists who planned it, but yes, this group violated the 1A rights of the churchgoers who were privately worshiping and minding their own business. This is where the government actually seeks to enforce rights. Yeah. Don Lemon violated rights, so I think
so time to lynch him.
I think the odds they're giving it is like 20% that he'll get charged.
Yeah,
facts.
I really hope that it actually happens because 20% is not enough to make me feel comfortable. There's a tweet that I just put in that to kind of put a bow on this. Don Lemon was talking to the I don't know what her name is,
Jacqueline Welch or something,
and he's saying that they're entitled white supremacists, the people in the church.
Wow, let's play the clip.
You know.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy.
They're racist, yep.
And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America. And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think
That's the only reason.
Stop.
The only reason. It wasn't perhaps because you had foreknowledge of a misdemeanor at least, or a felony violation of people's rights, and said, we're going to go film this and share it. I want to stress what makes this particularly egregious is that if a group of white supremacists said, we're going to traumatize and surprise and interfere with the rights of a group of black people at a church, and some white nationalist said, I'm going to film that, they'd be like, that's a crime. Like, you're filming the hate crime. That's a crime too. But the way that they view the world is we are perpetual victims fighting against injustice. Yeah. Therefore, we're always allowed to do it our way. You're not allowed to do it your way.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but just the fact that he's calling them white supremacists could possibly be like, well, maybe this was a hate crime too. He hates white people. He's accusing people of being white supremacists just because they're white and religious.
Yeah, well, and like Don Lemon just gives the game away. Like this was such like an optical disaster for the left in a lot of ways because it literally is the most obvious example of the two things they hate most, which is Christianity and like Americans, broadly speaking. That's why like the one thing that seems to get these people out on the street more than anything else is ICE, because ICE is attempting to like reverse this like replacement migration that's been going on for the last 60, 70 years. And they hate that. They hate that because they hate themselves. And so by extension, they hate the US. That's why you're seeing like white people in the streets protesting. And so again, this is like
they do it because they hate themselves.
It's like the most obvious example of what they actually fear the most, again, which is like Christianity, which is immigration enforcement. It's really egregious.
I actually think what we're seeing in terms of racial politics was an inevitability and was obvious to anybody paying attention. And we had talked about it on this show several years ago. I talked about it on my morning show, but let's open up like this. There was an article a while ago from Sacramento Public Schools or something. I don't know if you saw this. They were advocating for white racial affinity groups, and it was a progressive argument. The progressive argument was that white people needed to understand white history. I'm sure they were going to say negative things about it, but it was a school in Sacramento saying, we are going to gather all the little white kids together and give them their own group. And I said, what do you think those kids are going to do when you put a group of white kids in a room and say, here's why you're all bad? they're going to look around at each other and be like, I don't think I'm bad. You're not bad. You're my friends. I like you. We like each other. And they're going to say, hey, these people are bad. They're bad. And then they're going to
liberals
attach
are bad.
Their anger
to
their race.
Waking up,
instead
let's
of
go.
Social issues, economic issues, political issues. They are creating this. So I look at it actually very, very simply mathematically. If you have a majority population, and historically minority populations are disadvantaged in a variety of ways, once the white population gets to a certain threshold, 60%, 65, 70%, they're going to start feeling pressure. It's not just that. You expect it to be, no. As soon as America is 49% white people get angry. No, because in Chicago, for instance, a good example, you have areas that are just all black, and there are some white people who live there. Those white people are discriminated against, and they become racist because on the surface, that seems to be the issue. You get the white population down to where it is now, you're starting to see affirmative action. You're starting to see DEI policies. And what's going to happen is it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. It doesn't matter if you're oppressed or the oppressor. People don't like being pushed around. And you're going to get an increasing number of white people saying, stop yelling at me. And it's going to create white racial identity politics.
Facts.
Well, yeah,
Tim,
I think that the diversification of America makes that an inevitability because people define themselves by distinction. I think that when the country was 90% white in the 60s, for example, people didn't even think of it as a white country. That's just what a country is. I wake up, I see all white people, that's what a country is. And the way they thought about diversity and immigration is, well, we could tolerate a white country with some non-white people. But ever since 2012, it's 50-50, non-white versus white births. So Generation Z, Generation Alpha, they're growing up in classrooms, neighborhoods. It's not white. It's some white people, some non-white people. It's a total mix. And now they're starting to say, no, I'm a white person in a diverse country. I'm a white person in a Mexican neighborhood. I'm the only white kid in an Indian neighborhood. You almost become more white the less white the country becomes.
Right.
And the thing is, I don't even think it's bad that the country's becoming majority non-white. And I think it's a good thing that people are developing a consciousness because I think that's the only basis that they can stick up for themselves is as a group.
Why do you think it's bad the country's becoming less white?
Because I think it makes the country less cohesive, and I think it destroys the identity of the country. You know, America was founded by white people, built by white people. The culture that America had was generated by European civilization. And I think that when it becomes majority non-white, you're going to get a very different kind of country in every way.
What if it was, let's just say, all Native American, but they were all like the most diehard conservative
Walk us through this like I'm a baby.
The founding fathers were the greatest thing that ever happened.
Explain this to me like I'm a fucking stupid baby.
With that? Is that worse?
I would, because then we'd all be living in teepees and riding on horses.
I'm making it about the racial component. If it was 300 million Native Americans and like the white people just like didn't have babies and moved to Iceland or something, the Native Americans said we're going to build skyscrapers, we're going to play baseball, bake apple pies.
Yeah, they can't.
We're going to praise the founding fathers and the Constitution.
Right, they can't do that.
Is that still bad?
Well, that's just it. I don't think that it's interchangeable. That's really kind of the key word, because whenever people talk about race, they say, is it skin deep?
Fiction.
And so people say, well, what if the person's skin was black? Or what if the skin was red or yellow or brown or whatever? But I don't think that Indians or, Amerindians, whatever you want to call them, I don't think they will be building skyscrapers. I don't think they have liberalism, center-right liberalism.
They can't. They couldn't build a fucking building.
The very
how are they going to build a skyscraper?
If the only difference was skin deep, would that be a worse off nation?
Well, it wouldn't be the same nation is the point. I wouldn't feel at home, let's say. If Chicago was all Indians running around, I would be a minority and I would feel deeply uncomfortable because, home for us is familiarity. We like seeing familiar faces like our mom and dad and our uncles and grandparents. We like the food and the culture we grew up with. And if it's all Indians, well, they're going to be doing their Indian thing and it's their home, not ours.
But that's the hypothetical. If they were making apple pie and playing baseball.
Yeah, so we're against it.
We're in every how about this? Every white person, a genie appears and he's like, I'm going to make everyone Indian. And then every white person just goes, whoa, I'm Indian now. Is the country worse off because of that? Yep. Like you become an Indian. The culture is identical in every way. They love the Constitution, the founding fathers. They're all Catholics and Christians or whatever. Is that bad?
Yep.
If I were Indian, well, then I guess it would be the same. If I'm a white person in a white country and I'm an Indian in an Indian country, I benefit. But we don't have to look at a hypothetical because America was a white country and now it's going to be a non-white country.
Well, Tim, that's a stupid hypothetical.
Well, what's interesting is this is actually the argument the left uses in an inverse moral position that white was the default. People didn't view themselves as white largely because everybody was.
Right.
And so they were basically otherized, and now they want to take that power away from white people.
Yes.
The inverse argument on the other side is, well, this is a country built by white European people. Colonizers came to this land, conquered or traded and developed it. So why should we give it away?
Yeah.
To Nick's point, I was watching.
So you're a liberal,
America and Schellenberger was on. He was talking about actually Venezuela, but he mentioned how the different cultures around the world are very different from Western culture. And he was talking about, I'm retweeting the tweet now if anyone wants to go to my X page and check it out. But
I'll follow.
He was saying, look, if you're in India, right?
Oh
you
boy!
don't pay the electric company directly. You pay your landlord, and he goes and he bribes the electric company. He's like, if you're in South America and you get a job, the guy that gives you the job expects you to give him like a vig for the entire time that you work there, like 10, 20%. So it really does matter the culture that you come from. And and we've talked about this before, if you bring enough people from a different culture into the United States, you will change what the United States is. We don't have magic soil, you know?
I think the challenging thing for a lot of conservatives, actually, liberals totally get it, is that for your average person, let me start with the George Carlin joke. Think about how stupid the average person is. Now realize half of them are stupider than that. I know people are going to say, Tim's calling people dumb, but most people make judgments based off of appearance, first and foremost. This is the first thing you learn in sales.
Holy shit, man.
How you appear to the person you are trying to sell. If I was going to try and approach Ian and I saw the guy walking down the street, I'll put it like this. If I had a sales team and Ian was the customer, I would not send Nick in his suit and tie to try and sell Ian. I would send probably Phil or Tate with a more relaxed look. Appearance is the first thing people go to.
Whoa.
And that means race, and that's why there is racism. It's not that there can't be, like an Indian guy born in America who loves America, believes in the founding fathers, just looks different.
Man. It's like hard to listen to him talk.
People in Chicago being a really great example of this, people choose to segregate. The question is why, and how do you change it? And that was the liberal experiment they have failed at time and time again, which never worked. Now, I think it's fair to say, in the true sense of classical liberalism, we wish that were the case.
Buy this pen. It's esoteric and mystical.
Everybody holding hands under a rainbow. When it comes to the instance of
Ian, this is a DMT branded pen.
If I see somebody disparage a racial group, or particularly someone
look at this tie-dye pen,
person,
Ian.
I'll be like, that's not okay. Generalizing an entire group of people because of one person you don't like is bad. The problem is, go to Chicago and ask the people there to do the same. Be it the white working class, the Polish immigrants, the Ukrainian, the Italian, the black community, or the Latino community, they're not going to do it. You go to the black neighborhood, and they're going to call you racial slurs. And depending on which neighborhood it is, where there's a lot of gangbanger territory, which is where I grew up near, you could get shot and killed. There are some gangs that have forced initiation. If you're born in their neighborhood, you have to join the gang. And in order to join the gang, you have to kill somebody. And so there have been instances where a 20-year-old gangbanger, it will be a black guy, he'll go up to a 13-year-old black kid, hand him a gun, and say, go shoot that mug. And it'll be just some white guy walking down the street. And they'll be like, because you gotta kill somebody to get in. It can be that wild. Typically, it's somebody they want dead. So there have been instances where, again, I grew up near the LeClaire Courts, historic gang territory, literally 2 blocks away. Or you cross that street, you're gonna get they're gonna beat the crap out of you. Or famously, the cops would pull, like the white person walking in a black neighborhood, cops are gonna pick you up and drive you back and say the only reason white people go here is for drugs. So how do we function as it's a challenging question that liberals
really difficult.
Seem to recognize but don't ever want to address publicly?
Yeah, you have to separate race and culture and acknowledge that there is genetic differences in different what you want to call races that have accrued over time, millennia, thousands of years due to nutrition and sunlight, all sorts of, elevation, whatever.
I
like
love
Asian
Ian,
people,
man.
for instance,
I
have that
fucking
fold
love
in the
Ian.
eye that blocks the wind.
It's true.
so
It's because of the
chill.
wind.
Yeah.
It's because of that plateau or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and
It's so chill.
You brought this
step,
up. The fox had it too.
Yeah.
And it looked like some Chinese guy. But
Totally.
It was a fox. No, but it did. And we pulled it up. What was the fox called?
the Tibetan fox.
And then
Dude,
you said
they
something like, I
discovered-
wonder if it's because of the wind.
Yep.
And then we looked up, and literally it says the fox and Asians have the slanted eyes because of high winds.
And people
That's
with
wild.
the darker skin
And
probably
Asians.
get a lot more sunlight near the equator.
Yeah, you don't have. I mean, black people don't get melanoma.
Getting like dark skin doesn't just make you behave well, this is like a conversation that I don't even know if I'm scientifically equipped to actually talk about, like literal genetic.
No, I
difference.
trust you, man. I
Does
trust you.
darker skin? I think we talked about melatonin correlate with more violence.
Melanin.
Is that true? We did some study that had some
Not
correlation
melatonin,
in
dog.
violence between.
Holy
And
shit.
so we were
the whiter
Okay.
an animal got,
All
the
right.
less violent it got.
Abort,
It was a very
abort, abort.
strange study.
Yeah, they did 2 experiments: rats and foxes, and they bred them for to be. It was like a domestication experiment.
Melatonin make you more
The
sleepy.
aggressive animals would not get food, or they would be bred or something like this. I think what they did was both. The most aggressive got bred and the least aggressive. And the least aggressive chain ended up losing their melanin production and becoming white and spotty. And the interesting thing was, this is
That's
a
crazy.
research study. I'm not
That's
telling you what it
crazy.
means. It's just what they found.
That is real,
but
though.
Man, did the AI
It does
try
just display
everything
behavior.
in its wordy, weird
is true.
power to try and claim it wasn't true and didn't exist. And we were like laughing at it like, dude, I'm not going
When
to
you're
discriminate
laughing at
against a
the
person
AI?
based on their race because you did a study.
So my take here, Nick, I'd love to get your take on this too. Is that
Don't worry,
in the United
ChatGPT.
States, the black people, not everybody, but just for the last 150 years, they're descendants of slaves. So they had poor nutrition. They were basically thrown out on the street with lack of education, and generation after generation, they've come from this tumbling mess of chaos of slavery. Had it been 2,000 years ago, and the black people of Africa had enslaved a bunch of white Northerners, and then they were let out on the street. Maybe it's not so much about skin color, but it's about like how the last 150 years of your ancestry has been treated. I'd like to get your take on.
Well, I think it's that is really the question.
Great
Because you have these
idea.
persistent disparities in everything: education, wealth, income, and then crime and educational attainment, all that kind of stuff. And the question is, why are these things the way they are? And the answer is, if everybody starts in the same way, the kind of blank slateism, which says that we're all born equal, we're all the same, and we all end up every year in different places. And let's say it's Asians on top, whites next, Hispanics, then blacks. People say, well, something must have happened in the middle for these disparities to arise, which would be racism. And I would say it's less interesting maybe how we got to an unequal position, rather than first to say we are in an unequal position and say, why is it that the black people struggle to read in Baltimore? Why are the crime rates so bad? And you could say, well, when you test their IQ, it's a full standard deviation lower. And some people say, well, that's because the white people had winter and the black people are hunter-gatherers. And other people say, well, it's, maybe it's a nutritional thing, because that does influence IQ and the rest of it, brain size and all of it. Fact of the matter is, that's where we are. That's the case.
I think one of the issues I take with a lot of the generalized racism is that a
There are
Somali black
exceptions.
person is not the same as a Haitian black person. And so when you just use,
They're kind of similar.
but Haitians are like 6'5", and Somalis are like 5'3". And my point is, when you just say black, white, or otherwise, I mean, a Slavic Eastern European versus like a Northern Spanish person are going to be pretty different, but everyone's going to call them white. The question is, what's interesting about it is whether you're from, like,
But they're more
Chicago
similar.
being the example of chosen racial segregation. While I think it's important to point out when we're talking about IQ and reading levels, Nigerians who migrate here tend to do very, very well. But that's because the best, smartest Nigerians are able to afford to migrate. So then you'll see when they say like, oh, it's in the school in like Harvard, they were
Talking
finding
about rocket
Asians scored the highest,
scientists.
followed by whites. Then I think it was
Respect.
Latino, then black. But you'll find like 2 or 3 black people who scored super high, and it's like wealthy Nigerian from like a wealthy family.
Dude, what's Reddit
But
about
the point
Tim
is,
Pool, bro?
In
Come
a place
on.
like Chicago,
Be
when
for real.
families move from Africa, no matter which country it is, if their skin tone is black, they choose to go into an area where everyone has a darker complexion. And white people choose to go in areas of whiter complexion. Latinos choose to go in areas where there's other Latinos. The interesting thing about the Brandon Johnson election that we covered
Okay,
on the
but
show
Slavs
was,
aren't white. Okay, true.
and you should I don't know if you look this up. Did you look at the electoral map compared to the racial demographics?
I did, yeah.
1 for 1.
Yep.
The only one deviation. The only neighborhood that didn't vote based on race was the Loyola Progressive Socialist area, which was largely white and voted for the black candidate. Every black neighborhood, their top 3 candidates were black, even if the second and third choice wasn't a contender. It was like someone polling at 0.2% was the third most voted for person in the black neighborhoods. The white neighborhoods voted for the white guy, Hispanic voted for Hispanic, and black voted for black.
Well,
and the only reason Johnson won was because Loyola
are racist.
Woke leftists voted for the black socialist. You can say anything you want about racism. You can talk about every ideal you have. You can talk about how the world is supposed to be. You can say whatever you think people want to hear. You can lie and claim you're an activist. These realities exist. And all these liberals that are trying to say blank slate otherwise, I just say to them, look, I'm never going to hold someone back because of their race, prop them up. A person is a person. But you're not going to be able to advance this realistically when you can go to any city and people choose to segregate based on race. Now, that being said, I want everyone to look at this Tibetan fox.
Oh, so Tibetan. So
yeah, I think Ian was like, you got to look at the Tibetan fox because he's got Asian eyes.
He looks like a wise Chinese
man.
Let
me see, wait.
Well, he is.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, true.
You know, the other foxes go to him for wisdom.
He looks like you, Tim.
See, that's true. You know what's funny, though, is that's also to the left racist. To say that an old Asian person just has more wisdom.
Oh, yes.
It's positive discrimination.
So true.
But no, we looked it up. And it's true. The reason they have the folded eyes is because of the high winds in that plateau region, and it's also why Asians have that as well. But we should talk more about news.
Tim Pool is
real.
I
want to jump to this
blows
story
my mind every
because
time
of what's going on in Minneapolis.
Bro,
the New York Times wrote a story called "Minneapolis Feels quote like being in a civil war." That wasn't the original headline. The original headline was "In Minneapolis, I glimpsed a civil war," and I think they changed the headline because, the opinion writer really meant it, and the New York Times probably got freaked out by what it actually meant. Now, of course, if you read the article, your time will largely be wasted. But, it looks like this is a different... is it a different article? Maybe I pulled up the wrong article. Let me see if I can find the other one. Because I covered this...
Tim Pool trying to lie to us, huh?
Interview. They're interviewing the person who wrote it.
Just go to the Internet Archive. You can find the old version.
Yeah, I'll try. There was another article that I was reading this morning that maybe is the reason why I didn't pull
Tim
it
is
up.
bald because of high winds pulling off his hair.
No, I thought they changed the title. I was wrong.
Yes,
in Minneapolis,
true.
I glimpsed the Civil War. Right, here you go. And,
holy fucking cool. But it's 2026 and he thinks that it's crazy to say people of different races.
Blah, blah, blah. Their take
is that not crazy? He thinks this is like a crazy convo to be having right now.
I use it as a launch pad to show you what's going on.
He's going
and
there.
talk about what's
Damn.
And I want to show you this clip first.
The blue tsunami means that
Ian was ready to go there 8 years ago, dude. Ian has been held back by
and a
Tim
bunch of other people's
being real.
ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion, that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him, and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingoners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call, everything you did. We will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fano.
Dude, that's what I'm hearing the electorate say.
MPD
the electorate are really pissed.
Almost got killed on January 6th. You know,
word on the street
said, and I think it's true,
the electorate's
that it's
not
more than
happy.
just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this.
So we've got prosecute Trump and the people around him. Okay. Then we have this.
Saying, show me the man, I'll show you the crime.
Exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing. You know what I'm going to do first? I want to pull up this tweet from me because I was seeing a bunch of things going on in Minneapolis. And so I'm just sitting there and then I was thinking about it. I tweeted out. I X-posted. What I'm seeing in Minneapolis is crazy. They're attacking pedestrians. They're storming churches. And then I get this flag, a potential community note.
Impool doesn't understand dark humor. That's true.
Any of this is actually happening. So I've got it right here. Here's the tweet. The things I'm hearing out of Minneapolis are insane. Activists forcing their way into churches, attacking random pedestrians, stalking SUVs. WTF is going on? Rate the proposed community notes. Okay, what did they say? There is no verified evidence of activists forcing entry into churches or broadly attacking pedestrians in Minneapolis. Local police and major news outlets report no such pattern and urge reliance on confirmed information. Aside from the fact that there's videos of them storming the churches, we've showed you photos of it already. Harmeet Dillon says she actually is pursuing charges. And then there's this, a video of a pedestrian being attacked for wearing a hoodie that says Freedom.
Ooh, can't even wear a Freedom hoodie anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, W protesters on this one.
Could this be construed as a sexual assault? Yeah, like take it off. They're making a guy take his hoodie off in the winter in Minnesota.
I mean, look, man.
My bigger complaint is that hoodie doesn't fit him.
This is terrible for the left, and I love it. You know,
The left is
here's a
not
pedestrian
liking
being
this.
attacked because his
Tell
hoodie
you
said
what.
Freedom. Here's a
Facts.
video
Phil.
of white people. They're eating lunch, and activists think they look like ICE and begin, let's just say, berating them and threatening them.
This is so cool. I mean, so cool as This has got to be the funniest thing I've ever seen. I know, it's like, you feel like a zoo.
Tim went from the X Games to playing games on X. Aura. Yeah, damn. Damn. Aura. Take that beanie off, Buster. We want to see that beautiful,
So you can't really hear what they're saying,
beautiful
and the
scalp.
whistling's really loud, but he's saying we do app development for a variety of businesses, and we don't even support ICE. You hear people say several times, if you're not with us, you're against us.
All right, burn that place
I gotta say,
down, bro.
The whistling really sounds very short bussy. You know what I mean? Like, it's a group of really dumb people just blowing whistles, and I'm just like, well, I think they're all retarded.
Idiot liberals.
Here's another video. Here's a video. This is
Classic.
Commander Bavino confirms anti-ICE riders are destroying private vehicles of civilians thinking they're ICE. Mayor Frey and Tim Walz haven't said a freaking word to help put a stop to this. So that's going on.
Not a
And then
freaking
what do we
word.
have here? We have this. Hakeem Jeffries adding on. We're going to get some indictments. We're going to charge people. Here's Jake. This is Jake Lang, right? That's his name. Jake Lang getting
that guy.
attacked by a bunch of leftists.
Fucking nerd.
I heard that this guy was dragged into
Dude, they
the crowd and
raped him.
stabbed. Is that true?
He said
They
that
fucking
someone tried
raped
stabbing
him.
him, but they hit his vest, so he didn't get injured. That's my understanding. So anyway, the point is this: on the podcast, they're saying you're going to jail, and on the streets of Minneapolis, they're beating people, destroying random vehicles, stealing
Only
rifles
Myron
out of
and
federal agents'
Sneeko were
vehicles,
there.
and threatening pedestrians. There's a video, a photo
What did he mean by
going
that?
viral where it's allegedly from Will Stansel saying. There's a SUV with press written on the back, and he's like, "You need to pull over for us and give us your credentials, because you are acting like ICE." They've begun to act like de facto government authority, and I warned it was going to happen. Remember when I said,
Bro, I
you'll hear
remember
a
when Tim
doorbell
was
ring,
saying that.
You'll go to the door, and there'll be a clown through your peephole holding up a rainbow sheet of colored paper that says clown warrant on it, and he's going to say, "I'm the clown police. Open your door." And you're going to go, "I don't what? Like, you don't recognize clown police." You would not open the door for this person. These people are already saying, pull your car over. They're telling people in restaurants, harassing them, who are you? What are you doing? We are getting to the point where you're going to walk in the
Beardson
street
already
and
said
some
that, bro.
leftist with
Come
a
on.
communist badge or whatever is going to say, you're being detained. We're in control now. And then again, if Democrats win, these
Bro's
people
probably
are
got a
on their
sick
side.
Yogi Bear impression.
They're going to have the Obama 08 logo as an armband.
Tim, go. Good
Streets
one.
enforcing Islam and socialism. But no, but it is true. And here's the problem with Trump. This is why I didn't vote for him.
Tell him,
I
Tim.
knew that this administration has no balls, does not have the will to do it. And you want to know how you knew they have no balls? When Charlie Kirk got shot, they didn't do nothing to Antifa, to the far left, any of these people. And the problem is the administration is pissing them off. It's provoking them, agitating them. The Letitia James stuff, the James Comey stuff.
fuck?
They're poking the left in the eye, but they have no real way to use the federal government. They're not wielding it properly or efficiently. And so what Jim Acosta said, that is a little window into the future. The left is going to take back the House. They're going to subpoena everybody, impeach everybody, prosecute everybody. They're going to come in 28. Maybe they're going to win, and then they're going to bury us. So the problem with Trump is he's barking up the wrong tree.
Everyone
You either
axes
destroy the
A-Log and
left
Tim
or they
Pool,
get
by
in
the
and then they
way.
destroy
Shitty
us.
fucking
Nick,
collab.
do you think that
Damn it, dude.
these kind of videos are
Not everyone on
really
X,
affecting
dog.
the fall? Like, because this is
Oh,
something
hell
that's
nah.
broadly unpopular with the American people, and there's so much awful imagery for the
Matrix
left
ain't
coming out.
survived
Do you
this
think
episode of
actually
Tim Pool.
would affect people in midterms? I personally think that it would affect
Blowing my
if
mind.
it was a
Wait,
presidential
what is
election.
that?
Do you think that it'll get people out in the midterms?
Absolutely
got a
not. No,
chocobo?
because these are left-wing people that are activated, and that's what happens when
No,
the incumbent
what?
is in charge. They always
The
lose seats
hell
in the midterms. They always lose seats in the House, in particular, 2 years later.
Don't mock
and that's
me,
because
Jimbo.
the
I'm
left,
not mocking
or the
you.
opposing party
Why does everyone
always
think
gets
I'm mocking them all
animated
the
and
time?
charge up. They get activated by those
Bro, think he
hot-button
beards
issues.
him.
So these are the same people. These are the shock troops for the legions of the
I
blue
think he
wave.
beards
that are
him
gonna
buying
come
a
in
new
in
retro game
26
collection.
in the fall, and we're going to get buried. What is it, like a 3-seat majority? We lose the House, it's curtains. They're going to jam up everything, and then they are going to destroy us. And the difference is the left does not play.
No.
They said, we need FU Democrats. That's all they've ever been. And that's what Biden did. That's what this is going to be. And we are all toast when that happens. So
Imagine Nick unzipped his whole body, and Millennial Matt jumped out of Nick's body
I saw
to
that
grab
tweet. They
him.
said, well, Tim Walz isn't doing anything. Dude, Trump is the
Whoa,
president.
chills.
Isn't this our golden age? Bring in the feds, bring in the troops, shut it down. It's your country. But, our people are not serious. They're playing games. They're giving speeches, doing interviews. They got to send in the
let's
troops
start
and
playing
crush
games.
these
The
people.
fuck?
That's what it's all about. But they're going to wait for them
I
to
got a
march.
stim while I listen.
These activists
I got a
have been
stim.
disrupting law enforcement for a decade plus.
What's wrong with playing
and
games,
the repercussions
dude?
are always slap on the wrist.
Come on,
minor
shots at me
charges,
now? What
rubber
the
bullets.
fuck, man?
ICE is out enforcing real law. They're not doing crowd control, so they're armed with lethal
Those
munitions.
always taking little
and
shots.
These activists, because they've never felt consequences, quote, "Why did you have real bullets?" They think they're playing a game. They think they're playing cops and robbers.
I don't think we should send in the troops. I'll tell you why. I think that the goal of there's Saul Alinsky's rule for radicals. The left, the
Break that
communist
down. Break that down.
momentum
This is why he's
wants
here.
The government
This is
to
why he's
establish
here.
a fascist crackdown so they can say,
They're
"See,
retro
we told you
games
they're fascist,"
only.
and then rally a
Okay, true.
communistic communal revolution against the government. That's my main concern.
Well, Nick, I was going to say,
Thank
just as
goodness
far
we
as
have
him
his
as, like,
insight on
antagonizing
this.
the left. I mean, don't you think they would sort of escalate this way?
He does
anyway,
make it
with
like
or
10
without
times
Trump in
more
office? 'Cause,
watchable.
I look
Because
at the
Tim
Trump
Pool's
administration, I'm like, look, whatever concerns
too
anyone
serious,
may
but
have,
still
it's always
retarded.
buying us time. It's giving us
He's at
breathing
least just
room.
like silly.
And for me, that
you know?
means it's worthwhile to throw support behind. I mean, like negative migration is like huge, I would say, going forward.
I don't feel a lot of breathing room right now. And I think that, there's arguments that like, well, when a Republican's in charge, it buys us time to organize and do things like that. But it's like, Elon bought Twitter when Biden was in charge. Censorship got relaxed when Biden was in charge. I feel like the right was never more powerful than a year ago or 2 years ago in 2024. That's when we were at our apogee. And when Trump gets in power, it's the opposite. Like all the censorship happened in Trump's first term. Charlottesville happened in his first term. BLM happened in his first term. The vax was created in his first term. And, you're right. The left probably would have gotten charged up anyway. I think, though, that let's say Trump lost the election in 24. Kamala gets in. I don't think they have as much momentum because the difference is if it's like a continuation of the Democrats, there's still this right-wing anger saying this is an illegitimate government.
Are there any
Kamala
tools at
never
mine
won
in
a
a
primary.
3x3
If she brings us to war,
on this mod pack?
doubly
Does
so.
anyone know?
No one believes the election's legit. But Trump wins.
Getting like
and
a lot of
now
stone.
the right wing is complacent because the right wing says, we won, let's go home. You think people are doing something with the breathing room. They're not.
Apogee,
The
today's
left
vocab
is
word.
breathing. The left is getting
The
excited.
apogee.
And I would have supported Trump if I
And
had confidence that he would
ate it.
use what he gets to
Delicious
actually
apogee.
blow up some of these agencies and departments, prosecute the left, deport 10 million
have a
people.
yummy
But it's like we're
apogee.
playing games, waiting for them to get back in power, and then they don't play games. And to your concern about the communists are going to rally, it's like if we get a fascist takeover, they're all going to jail. Identify these people, put them in jail, watch them, monitor them. If
I have,
they did it to
3
the right,
stacks.
we could do it to the left. I think we need to play to win because if
true.
we just wait around for them to use power, they do. They're not worried about being fascists.
Yeah.
I think what you're describing predicts Democrats will take over. They will begin to go tenfold harder than we've already seen them go, which is insane. I mean, they arrested Donald Trump several times and his lawyers.
Oops.
The right will then have a massive
Oh.
reaction. It would, if this does come to full-scale civil war, it seems that the prediction is it will be with Democrats in control of government and right-wing splinter groups at the state level. breaking
thank
apart,
you.
Which I think
My
was
backpack.
Rudyard's prediction, effectively. Is that what he said, or did he?
Rudyard Lynch?
Yeah, he said the people's. What did he say? Like the people's
Rudyard
Congress would
Lynch?
be in Austin or something, and then
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong. So Rudyard, correct me. I think he was saying the Democrat faction
he
would be in
serious?
DC, and the conservative faction would be in Austin.
Is he being 100% serious?
And then I argued at the time, because I think it was just after Trump won,
Let's
that
go.
it would actually be the Democrats would be New York.
He's talking about fucking Roger Lynch. Let's fucking go, baby.
Based on your argument, I'm not so sure anymore exactly what would happen, but it does seem like you're right. The right won't fight because they view it very hierarchically. Trump is in charge. It's over. We won.
Yep.
The Democrats are decentralized, and they're like, we're going to just rip everything to shreds at every granular level. And so you need that grassroots right now for local elections to help Trump win, especially in the midterms. It's not there.
Did you see, instead of voting for Trump, did you vote for somebody else?
No, I just didn't vote. I just held back because I think that, you know, it was established going into this that Trump wasn't going to be serious. He wasn't going to keep his promises. And the Republicans need to know that they need to pander to their base, not just the other side, not to the middle, not to the minorities, you know, these like non-conventional GOP voters. They need to appeal to the far right. And this is why we're getting what we're getting. And, you know, by the way, Trump is getting rich off this. Trump got rich off Trump coin. Kristi Noem is getting rich off DHS. Corey, like, all these people are making tons of money off the contracts. Meanwhile, you got this kind of stuff going on. And it's like, at the end of the day, Trump can pardon himself and all his people. We don't get pardoned.
We're replacing something ugly with something uglier.
There's no refuge. We're just screwed.
Maybe I'll just destroy the Nether portal.
You know, everything that they say about Stephen Miller and Trump and Vance was true. You know, because what they say is like, when Charlie Kirk got shot, Stephen Miller got up at his thing and said, "We build things. You are nothing. We're coming after you." All that talk, all that flapping his gums on TV, and then, you know, you're getting made to be the bitch in Minneapolis, in Trump country. They're like storming churches, blowing up hotels, going outside ICE hotels, blowing their stupid whistles. It's like, we should bury these people right now, but, you know, they won't do it. They're playing games.
I think... I just wonder, as they've argued, Biden's pardons are absolute and Trump can't do anything about it. What would happen if Trump did a blanket, like, anyone who ever voted Republican is hereby pardoned of all crimes and all sentences commuted?
Yeah, they'll ignore it. The left will absolutely say that.
I know.
These
it would be interesting because
it would be so
if Trump
awesome.
Let's say it's December 20th.
It would expose their hypocrisy.
It would be honored until
Could you imagine?
Later, but that would release everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no question that, like,
dude, imagine the hypocrisy exposed at that moment.
He's going to do a bunch of
pardons, so sweet,
trying to cover his bases, and they're going to ignore it. They're going to come up with some way to delegitimize him, and they're going to just wrap people up. There's no doubt in my mind that that's going to happen.
Actually, unlistenable.
J.D. Vance or whoever's the guy, the conservative.
Guys, it's okay,
we'll
guys.
See, there's a few things
cool.
that are
Tim Pool's
happening
cool,
that I think indicate a
listen. Tim Pool might not be that smart, but he's really cool.
We'll go this route. Maybe I can pull up this as a lead. You guys see the cease and desist?
You see him do
on
kickflip?
The TPUSA story.
Yeah.
So
it blew my mind.
Let me pull this up.
I'm cool.
From the greatest news agency of all time, Times of India. Because they actually write these stories.
India.
Terrible ideas. Candace Owens blast TPUSA legal letter claim as Erica Kirk and YouTuber fuel fresh controversy. So this is a story about a guy who. Oh, hey, look.
Hey. Who's that handsome guy?
You made it.
There's a YouTuber who made a bunch of ridiculous claims about the finances of TPUSA, who claims to be an accountant. He argued that they were paying they were sending money to a parking lot. The parking lot was obviously just the parking lot of a major business complex, but saying parking lot is sensational. So they sent him a cease and desist letter. Candace Owens came out and said it was a terrible idea. But there are questions even now people are asking about, particularly someone super chatted about, if Candace Owens is to destroy the moderates on the right, why would we have Nick Fuentes on, for example? Well, for all of the criticisms people have of you, you were calling out Candace Owens quite early on. Mm-hmm. And I think I think what's happening is, whether intentional or otherwise, let me start here. In the previous segment, we were talking about what's going to happen when Democrats take power. They're going to lock people up. There's an argument that there's going to be a title change, and that's CBS. So you've seen what's happened with CBS.
Yes.
Barry Weiss took over. CBS has now started to balance their coverage. It's pretty bland, which is what it's supposed to be. Barry Weiss is a proud Zionist. Candace Owens is as anti-Zionist as you could be, but also nuts.
And stupid,
The bifurcation that's being created, whether intentionally or otherwise, make that argument you want, all you want, is that
bitch.
The corporate press at CBS now, which is one of the most viewed news companies and programs that in the country and in the world probably, is, I'll give you an example. On the Somali daycare fraud, the story came out and said 62 convictions, 92 arrests from the Biden DOJ. Somali fraud is real. And I'm sitting here being like, well, okay, there we go. Like, it's real. While CNN says investigators claim daycares are running totally normally, still doing their weird woke liberal take or whatever. The play that seems to be happening, again, whether intentional or otherwise, is that for some reason Candace Owens is recommended to regular people who aren't involved in politics. And you'll go on YouTube. They're telling you to watch Candace Owens' show. She's telling you that Charlie was a time traveler, that Elon Musk is a robot. These are not exaggerations. Charlie may have been a time traveler, and that agents were trying to stop him from changing an outcome. It's really gotten to the insane
sapling?
level.
What the
If this continues, and I want to stress this, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. Its intention is meaningless. Candace Owens is capturing the anti-Zionist faction.
Hello?
And saying stupid retard things. CBS News is targeting the moderates who left the left and joined the Republicans.
Dude, I just want spruce saplings.
I actually think this may show a uniparty shift.
I'm not trying to deforest. It's not dropping any fucking
saplings. For the sake of the military-industrial complex, for the sake of Israel, TikTok we see this with, going the woke route has failed them. So now they want to poison the anti-Zionist faction with stupidity, as dumb as the woke people were saying. I don't call it woke right, though. It's not the same thing. And they want the moderates, the Tim Pools, the Joe Rogans to be like, oh, what CBS is doing is fantastic, run by a proud Zionist who's going to have that slant. This says to me that I'm not so sure Democrats get into power and actually start doing all of these arrests. Sounds to me like what's going to happen is the narrative shift is happening as such so that the MAGA people will be turned into the correct military-industrial complex establishment faction, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, it's been happening to me. The more I get opened up to the liberal economic order, I sort of take it as like you got BRICS and you got the liberal economic order, and they're both vying for control of the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal. And so
what is BG Trim talking about?
And Greenland for the same reason.
Greenland. They set up shop in the Middle East, and I'm like, look, I don't like being Israel's bitch. I don't want to be another country's bitch. I don't get sucked into war for regime change, but I understand American hegemony in controlling that Suez Canal. And I'm like,
Greenland is for the Northwest Passage, Panama is for the Panama Canal, Israel is for the Suez Canal.
So okay, Nick. I to be honest, I don't know what your thoughts are right now on everything. But
I'm
that's kind of where
looking
my head's at. Is
using
like,
a build guide. I'm using
I
a
should
picture
allow for this military
of
conquest of the Middle East and be happy that we have.
But attaching that to, do you think this vibe shift, right? Trump's going for Greenland, and they're acting like they're angry about it. I'm pretty sure the military-industrial complex loves what Trump is doing.
Oh, yeah.
Venezuela.
100%. And that's because, the military-industrial complex is permanent. It's a permanent bureaucratic state. And so the goals never change. And, what has happened, what's remarkable about Trump is one of the only things that has staying power about Trumpism is the pivot against China. Because Trump runs in 2016 and says, no, China's a real threat. We have to end free trade, put tariffs on them, and seriously confront them in the Pacific. And if you look at the Biden administration, that's one of the only things that holds over is the tariffs against China, arming Taiwan, sending Pelosi over there, actually undoing strategic ambiguity about whether we would defend them.
Yeah.
And so when you look at Greenland, Venezuela is the new Monroe Doctrine. That's Laura Richardson, who was the CENTCOM commander under Biden. That's like a Biden-era policy to push China out of Latin America. So they love seeing Maduro go. Greenland is sort of the same thing. Now that the North Pole is melting, like you said, all these sea routes are opening up. The Northwest Passage, Northern Sea Route, the Trans-Arctic Sea Route. And Greenland is going to be really good real estate. And the reason Trump wants it is because if Denmark owns it, they can't defend it. They can't defend it. China's going to take it. I mean, they got designs on it.
And it's hard for us to tax and control the rates for ships moving through our passage.
That's crazy.
And I think more importantly, if it's not our clay, China and Russia won't take it seriously. Just like with Ukraine.
Does that.
Ukraine wasn't a NATO member, so Russia tested. They pushed the line. Greenland is, it's Denmark, but it's semi-autonomous. Is it protected by Article 5? Will Washington go to war with China if there's an incursion in Greenland? They will test it. So it does need to be our territory. And you're so on the money about that. It's Panama. I wouldn't even say Suez. I would say Red Sea. Because what's happening is in Yemen, there's a battle between the Emirates and Saudi Arabia. In Somalia, it's a battle with Somaliland and Mogadishu, and the Emirates and Israel are backing up Somaliland because they want a port there. In Sudan, the Emirates are backing the Rapid Support Forces. They want a base at Port Sudan. They want to control the Red Sea. Yep. So, and in Iran, it's the Strait of Hormuz. So it does all come down to these choke points, and all the countries are lining up in World War III, basically China versus the United States.
It seems like there's a conflation between the Zionist movement of creating a homeland for the Jews and the military-industrial complex's alignment to control the Suez and the Red Sea.
Good point,
and that
Ian.
maybe what you're saying, that there might be a flip in the narrative too. Now I'm a proud controller of the Middle East, whatever you want to call it.
So look at my castle.
I have a lot of friends who are very Israel critical, and I think that's always fine.
PG Tim's castle looks cool.
So there's Israel derangement syndrome.
Whoa.
And these are the people who claim that, like Candace Owens, or the people who claim that Charlie was murdered by Israel's Israel derangement syndrome. Like Charlie just got an award by Israel. He did a panel with, I think it was with Andrew Colvett, to try and convince young Gen Z to support Israel. Was it like 2 months before he was murdered? Mm-hmm. So that's Israel derangement syndrome. Criticizing a government and focusing on a government I've never had a problem with. But what's happening now with Candace is she's sucking all the air out of the room and sounding like she's retarded. And so, again, the point being with CBS, Barry Weiss is looking like a genius, fixing a broken news that was biased towards weird woke things like child sex changes. And I think whether it's intentional or otherwise, I don't know, but again, I love what CBS is doing. Like when I'm pulling up articles now and I'm trying to track like the lines and stuff, CBS is a literally balanced article explaining it, where I can say, hey guys, don't look at me, it's a CBS. It's not some right-wing publication. It's not some activist. It's a corporate news outlet saying this. So I think what she's doing is fantastic. Again, with the purchase of TikTok, I think they realized.
What I saw?
This is funny. The one time Democrats and Republicans come together, TikTok after October 7th had a huge surge that appears inorganic to be promoting anti-Israel content in favor of Palestine. Whether that's true or not, we don't know, but it does look like it because it was a massive shift in a matter of a couple days. Democrats and Republicans all of a sudden agree TikTok must be owned by the United States. Just right when this happens, it's very obvious the issue was Israel. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, Donald Trump doesn't care, in my opinion, one way or the other. He wants to be supported. He wants to do what's the most popular thing. I think he cares about tariffs. I think he cares about the border. But on the foreign stuff, he's like, just you tell me what to do that's right. I think the military-industrial complex, which with its ancillary arms, however you want to describe it, MI6, Mossad, U.S. Deep State working together, Five Eyes Spy, all that stuff, they're basically like, okay, if we want support for Ukraine, if we want support for Israel, if we want Venezuela, if we want
Jimbo, storage racks.
Child sex change is costing
What about
elections.
storage racks?
Why don't we drop that stuff, pull the moderates back in our boat, prop up somebody who makes the people who oppose us sound like they're retarded? That's what seems to be happening.
Well, I would say that what happened, because I'm totally in agreement with you. You know, there was a statement that was given to the World Jewish Congress about 25 years ago in the 1990s. They call it the State of World Jewry. That's a speech. And it was given by some Jewish activist. And he said that the American Jewish community is inseparable from Israel. He said, and when Israel gets sick, American Jewry catches a cold. And that's basically what happened after October 7th, is that Israel's attacked by the Palestinians. And what they saw is that the far left, the radical progressives at Harvard and elsewhere, they supported Hamas. They were sympathetic to the Palestinians. And so all of a sudden, these like left-wing Democrat Jews like Bill Ackman, Sean McGuire, and some of the other notable ones, I'm thinking about, who's the other guy, the tech guy, Jacob Hellberg, was one of the first like little tech guys to max out his contribution to Trump in March 24. These are all, and many of them gay too, by the way. Like Jacob Hellberg is like a gay liberal Democrat. All these guys are lifelong Democrats, but after October 7th, they flipped and became Republicans. And it's because Israel's attacked. And they said, oh, and literally Bill Ackman publishes this open letter to Harvard. Oh, I have this epiphany. The left has gone too woke. Censorship is out of control. Harvard needs to have reform. They overthrow Claudine Gay at Harvard and install a Jewish doctor. You know, that's literally who replaces him. And I think that they're sliding into CBS on much of the same kind of sentiment. They're sort of drafting behind the conservatives.
Isn't Claudine a woman? What does he know?
Like Jewish people realize that the Democrats are beholden to the radical left that are at least going to restrain the Democrat support for Israel, like in the Biden administration. You know, the Biden National Security Council is drafting memos.
If you're talking to 4 libertarians, they love gays.
2,000 bombs.
That's true, but they're trying to be cool
to
now,
Israel.
and everyone else
and they were
hates
Senate
gays.
Democrats that wanted oversight. So they said if we
pretend that
want an
they
all-out
don't hate
pro-Israel
gays.
policy, Republican Party is open for business. And so that's when all the money came in. And the other thing is, it's Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is tight with Netanyahu.
Oh,
he funded the CBS takeover. He funded the TikTok takeover.
That's crazy.
He's a donor for Trump, and he's basically a conservative. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that
so can you take this
much
out?
of the pro-Israel stuff has a home in the GOP. They're inextricable. You don't get one without the other. And my issue with it
locates it on
is
the
that a
rack.
lot of Republicans think we are making a deal with them. And the deal is something like,
Red Pill 101. Everyone on TV is trans, Jimbo. Oh, yeah,
we'll do some pro-Israel things. In exchange, we get Republican governance. But we are not in control of this relationship. Miriam Adelson is. Ellison is. They get their back scratched. We don't get ours scratched. We went to war with Yemen. We bombed Iran. We're going to bomb them again. Do we have mass deportations? Do we have charges for Democrats? No, we don't have anything. So that's my issue with it is people think it's like this deal, and Israel's like Bane. They come in and they're like, do you feel in charge? It's like, no, I
think
don't.
this gives you power? Well, I look at it like... I think the deal is the bigger picture is the liberal economic order.
He knows how to just work any
financial
audience.
systems and all of these things. I think that
he
the people
knows how to
mentioned,
just
Bill
work.
and stuff, and he writes this big letter, and we all praise that. We're like, thank you for saying the right thing. And obviously, the reason was that he realized these far left activists hate Israel, and you're going to vote Democrat. They're going to start going that direction, which is what Biden was kind of doing. I think the stuff Trump promises. I think Trump initially is like, yes, I like these things. But I think there is a deep state. I think there's special interests across the board. The liberal Jewish donors and Democrats, Jewish Democrats, now are siding with the Trump administration in many ways because they realize their cause had lost.
Tim, come on, man.
I think now the deep state and the military-industrial complex are pressuring the Trump administration. I don't look at it like Israel is controlling everything we do. I look at it like they're a powerful special interest that teamed up with the military-industrial complex, and the things Trump says are just whispering sweet nothings into your ear that you were never going to get in the first place. So, when it comes to this, the
that's
bigger picture I'm
but that's
mentioning
okay.
Will Democrats start arresting people on the right? The reason I think the answer is no is because this has become the home for the establishment.
Tim Pool red-pilled me.
It's becoming the home for the establishment.
Too?
Invading foreign countries, taking more land, propping up the SWIFT payment system, the petrodollar. And they were never going to give you these things anyway. So there's no real reason to arrest people who won't protest anyway. They'll vote for Trump, and Trump will just do what the machine wants him to do for the most part. So why actually go and arrest anybody? I think the zeitgeist will shift.
Ooh, zeitgeist mentioned. Zeitgeist mentioned.
Joe Rogan's, the moderates being like, hey, look, the press
stuck
is
in the
finally cleaning up
zeitgeist.
their act. Everything's good now. They don't care about foreign policy. They're going to go back to watching the game.
I don't know. I mean, Joe Rogan said it's the Gestapo. He said ICE is the Gestapo.
That was fake news.
Oh, he didn't say that?
So I got caught by this too, and then I think it was Brianna Morello who put up the correct thing. What he said was, he's like, well, on the right, you've got people saying, why are we allowing these criminals to do these things? You've got rapists and murderers. We've got to use the law enforcement to get them out, and we voted for this. And then on the left, you have people saying, we got masked thugs going through our neighborhoods like the Gestapo. They cut the beginning off to make it seem like Joe
Rogan's based. Let's go, baby.
At the same time, though, he has said other things where he said, we're not just getting the violent criminals. We're getting all illegals. And he basically said he doesn't support that mass deportation policy.
And he voted for Trump.
He did. But I think that people like Joe, they represent like a disgruntled normie, because I think Joe's kind of like a center-left guy. He's like a civil libertarian, pro-weed, social liberal, etc. Wokeism,
dude, just like
pushed
everyone
him into
in the
Trump's
room.
arms.
Exactly.
And he saw in Trump what he wanted to see in Trump. Now that Trump is governing, he's
in the
trying
room
to
with
gesture towards the far right, or
8
like
Tim
the
Pools.
radical right.
I mean,
now
8
guys
Joe
like
Rogans.
Joe and Theo Von and Tim Dillon, they're kind of getting rubbed the other way. And they're saying, oh, I don't know, they seem undisciplined, this seems too hardcore, it's brutal, whatever. And to me, that feels like deja vu from Trump's first term, where it's like, People voted for Trump to burn it all down. They were sick of the PC, sick of the wokeness, etc. Trump comes in, and what the left does is they kick up so much dirt, they make it so ugly and messy that then normies cry out for normalcy. And they say, oh, you know, everything's just so controversial and contentious. Let's just go back to business as usual. And they kind of acquiesce to the left.
When you say normies, are you talking about like conservatives as well?
When I say normie, I just mean people that are not.
Yeah. What?
Like I would say, I'm like on the
what
far
is that
right,
question?
The far left. I see normies as kind of like unaligned.
Idiot.
They could go either way, you know.
Yes, you
Nick,
fucking
wouldn't you
idiot.
say, like, with
Holy
the
shit.
high-profile Jewish defections to the Trump camp?
No.
Wouldn't you say there's more to do with the left or the Democrat Party just becoming like broadly third worldist?
Great sex.
Because like the criticism of Israel coming from the left is vastly different than from the right. Or from the right, you know, they're wanting to decouple from Israel for a variety of reasons. But from the left,
Dude, I've
from
got
my
the coof.
perspective, it seems like pure resentment.
Dude, I'm a coofer.
No, absolutely not.
When they
to
were
me,
saying that,
what it
I was-
echoes is what
Missed
happened in
that.
'73.
Yes, everyone's
Because
saying
you know
the
that
coof.
October 7th is 50 years to the day
They got the
after
Chinese
Yom
coof.
Kippur surprise attack in 1973.
Really?
October 6th, 73 was when Egypt and Syria attacked Israel. And what was happening in the 70s is very similar. The Soviet Union put out a resolution in the General Assembly.
actually go for general?
And they said, Zionism is racism. That was the Soviet Union backed that. And then they were supporting Egypt and Syria invading Israel. And so these are all these like Jewish liberal intellectuals in New York. This is their mugging by reality because they said, wait a second. Now they're left wing, they're liberals, but they said, hold
That'd
on.
be so funny.
The Soviet Union says Zionism is racism. The Soviet Union's backing Egypt and Syria. They're saying the Soviet Union's not our friend. Now, they're still liberal, but they say the Soviet Union has to be destroyed because otherwise Israel will be under siege ideologically and militarily. That's exactly what happened here, which is that the far left is saying that Israel is a settler colonialist state. You know, it's a aircraft carrier for the United States, this, that, and the other. And you also have the left backing Iran, wanting a rapprochement, giving them the pallets of cash, the $6 billion, all this kind of stuff. And so, no, I think it's purely out of self-interest for Israel. And you know that because, you know, when they go to the Republican Jewish coalition,
Dude, what are
Mark
the Zeets
Levin
saying about all this?
says, you know, you got Muslim communists on one side. He goes and you got the KKK and the Nazis on the other. They don't draw a distinction between the third worldists on the left and the so-called identitarians on the right, like me. They criticize Israel for the right reasons. And by the way, they're still basically like center-right liberals, like Sean McGuire, Bill Ackman. These guys are not white nationalists now. They're like 90s liberals. And they get mad at Trump when he wants mass deportations. You know, so it's not like they became base defenders of Western civilization. Unless you're Sean McGuire, who said we should self-consciously pretend to be defenders of Western civilization because normie Republicans don't give a shit about Israel. But if we gesture towards the West, then we're going to get them on our side. So I think it's a very subversive, when you really peel back the layers, Barry Weiss, Yoram Hazony, they only care about Israel. She's an Israeli spy. Yoram Hazony lives in Israel. That is what they are about.
You think Barry Weiss is an Israeli spy?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
and if you know
obviously.
Her pedigree, absolutely.
What is it?
So after high school, she went to Israel and did a fellowship and said she learned how important Israel is. She goes to Columbia University, where she starts up the David Project and
He's
tries
sitting
to
with
get all
four
these
center-right
pro-Palestine
liberals right
professors
now.
fired in the Middle East Studies
true.
Department.
He's
Goes
dissing
back
it.
to Israel, studies under Yoram Hazony
They're
at
all
the
like-
Shalem Center. Then she gets hired right out of that program by Brett Stevens, who's like one of the most well-known neocons, got to start at Jerusalem Post, then Murdoch-owned Wall Street Journal. He picks her up as her mentor. Then he takes her to the New York Times. That's where she gets her start. Then she starts Free Press, and she gets money from Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Joe Lonsdale. Joe Lonsdale's like a super Zionist.
Is Peter Thiel?
Oh, yeah, he's in business with Alex Karp, who said his biggest fear is Christian nationalists are going to defenestrate him because he's a Jew.
Defenestrate.
Yeah, throw him out of a window.
Yeah.
And you know, and
Why is
Teresa
there a word
Horowitz.
for that?
Yeah,
So
kind
funny.
of funny. But so yeah, she's
Their
like,
minds
and
are
then
being blown
Larry
right now.
Ellison buys CBS as part of Israel's Eighth Front campaign to control information, and she gets $100 million payday for the Free Press and gets to run the newsroom. And then picks Tony Dokapil as the news anchor, who is the Zionist that attacked Ta-Nehisi Coates for his anti-Israel book.
Do you think that there's an effort at YouTube intentionally to prop up Candace Owens?
100%. Well, she's not banned.
She breaks the rules like crazy.
Yes, she's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple. As far as I'm concerned, she's never been banned from any of it.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about like Pizzagate.
The censorship's been hard on Candace.
How does an intelligence operation control for conspiracy theories? And so with Pizzagate, I'll give you the quick rundown. You get a bunch of emails released by WikiLeaks. In them, there's some weird things.
Red pill me on
something like,
WikiLeaks.
is it more fun to play dominoes on pizza or on pasta? Now, nobody really knows what any of this means, but all of a sudden on 4chan, someone just claims this means children, and they're talking about pedophilia. They then point to a pizza place, claiming it as a basement. There's no basement. What I think happened was the WikiLeaks emails revealed that they were doing drugs and having orgies and stuff, which is what we heard from
wheelchair guy.
Who's the member of Congress who told us about a bunch of orgies? Do you remember that?
Cawthorn?
Yeah.
3 steps at it, Tim Pool.
They're doing it. Then we got that video of those two guys going at it in the Senate. I think what the WikiLeaks emails revealed is that they're talking about doing drugs and having orgies.
It was low key.
And so the deep state is like, this will be nuclear for us in politics and controlling the narrative if this gets out.
Woo!
So they poison the well. They put fake information to drive the community in the wrong direction. Then a guy shows up at a pizza place, fires a round into the ground. There's no basement. He then surrenders, and everyone says, wow, you're all insane. With Candace, she's adopting the Charlie Kirk conspiracy stuff and making them sound like retards. And she's attacking Israel like crazy, but in the most retarded way imaginable. So for the people that live in this world of Israel bad, Israel derangement syndrome, she's become the biggest voice.
Dude, that's
and now
Nick.
They're sounding. I'll put it like
Dude,
this.
now he's taking shots at
I've
Nick.
met some really retarded people on the issue of Israel. Don't get me wrong. And then I know a lot of people who are libertarians who are very much just like the relationship we have with them is toxic for us. We shouldn't be funding them. I'm critical of their government. I think Dave Smith's great. He's a friend of ours.
Him.
I'm a fan of his. He's very critical of
funny
Israel.
How you can tell where Tim Pool's going.
I know there are people who are pro-Israel who don't like him.
It's funny how you can just literally predict the words that are going to come out of his mouth, like as he's saying.
Candace is getting put on.
Because it's just like the like it's just no original thought
about anything she says. And so again, the reason I say
I have IDS or was it IBS? I forgot. Yeah, facts. Pizzagate is what got me started on all this. Fuck him for downplaying.
We don't need to think about conspiracies.
Covering
we
up
can just
child
tell
porn
what the future is going to look like.
Pedophile.
Yeah, well, when it comes to her, there's a word for this in our community, and it's called kookery. And Sam Francis was fighting against it. If you read Revolution from the Middle by
our
Sam
community,
Francis,
we say that.
off the charts, brilliant, friend of Jared Taylor, used to write for the Washington Examiner. He writes an essay and says the biggest enemy of what he called the middle American radical, or like the Trump base, that was his word for it. He said, are the kooks that believe everything is like the X-Files. You want to talk about immigration. You want to talk about APAC.
Oh, shots at the X-Files now, too. Man, fuck
They
this
want to
guy.
talk about aliens, flat Earth.
Dude.
They want to time travel. And there is this, like, there's this
You want time
temptation.
travel.
If you believe in one conspiracy, you say, well, what else are they hiding? And there's this draw to just go further, more and more out there. And there's an essay by Cass Sunstein in 2008, him and a buddy. I believe he was from Harvard. He was an Obama speechwriter. And he said, how do we defeat the conspiracy theorists? Do we argue with them? No, we give them a platform. Do we censor them? No, we make them martyrs. He said, we unload the dog shit. And we put out a bunch of stuff that discredits them. And they start fighting amongst themselves. So like with 9/11, you can talk about dancing Israelis. That's real. He goes, well, what if we said there's holographic planes? There's no planes. Like, there never were the Twin Towers, stuff like that. And then you get them all fighting. And they actually wrote that in Project Esther. Heritage Foundation's like project to fight anti-Semitism.
Oh, yeah.
They said, we want to exacerbate the divisions and cleavages in the pro-Palestine
Cleavage
movement.
mentioned.
We want to turn them against
I'm
each
horny.
other. And what better way to do it than to start to say Israel's top guy, Charlie Kirk, was killed by Israel because he's a time traveler, and anyone that disagrees is an Israel shill. There it is.
Yeah.
So
because I mean that's what I see like with like the anti-Israel pushback on Israel, these sorts of things. Is like oftentimes I think for someone that's kind of new to the conversation, new to this entire topic, they end up seeing a lot of like anti-American, like third world rhetoric.
Yes.
That's why you saw like with the Venezuela invasion, all these people that got like one shot at after October 7th, and they like start exploring. Okay,
Party slash.
They were like with Tucker, where he was like, "Oh, Venezuela's like this brave, like they're the last bastion against like gay liberalism." And I'm just looking at like this is obviously a pro-American move that, in many ways, I mean, there is some geopolitical implications, but it's detached from the Israel situation But since they, again, are getting a lot of their information from like third worldist anti-Israel sentiment, it like completely poisons the well for them.
That's so real. And it's funny you say that because I was watching something from Jeffrey Sachs and I was just like disgusted. Jeffrey Sachs is like a Jew, major liberal, Clinton administration guy. He's on Tucker and Judge Napolitano all the time. And he's always like literally shaking. Netanyahu's a war criminal. Like, this is the worst. And it's like, and all these people are like, yeah, I totally agree. Then he goes to Serbia for this conference and he's like, the 500-year cycle of European domination is over and I couldn't be happier. This is awesome. It's China's turn. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you're some liberal piece of shit. Same with Max Blumenthal. Same story, like communist, liberal Jew, forever. Anti-Israel guys on the same shows, tight with Tucker. And when ICE shot that idiot liberal, he goes, this is terror capitalism. The Zionist plutocrats and their terrorist capitalism.
I'm not a fan.
Like, I got
to go ahead. Well, I'm such not a fan of Max Blumenthal. We had him on the show, and he was talking about, it was right after October 7th, and he was talking about the attack on the rave. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm a musician. I played shows, and I have friends that were at the Bataclan. And he was like, well, you know, they were just a bunch of druggies. And I'm like, you're just the biggest dirtbag I've ever seen. I couldn't handle it.
I got a question before we go to our super chats. If you were invited to a private meeting at the White House with Netanyahu, would you take it?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
I like being alive, you know?
I'd do it.
Well, I did.
I want to have him on the show.
Well, they won't kill you, Tim. Why would they kill you?
You gotta be on now. I want to hang with B because we got to talk about Israel and Judaism. First of all you Jews out there, you can't have a religion and a culture that's the same name. You have to change the name. So be Israeli culturally, but then have Judaism as your religion. And if you don't believe in God, you're not Jewish. I know. Just reformat your brain.
You tell them, Ian. You explain to them their beliefs.
Tighten ranks.
So
Ian's in charge
as you know, I did. Yeah. They had a meeting, and I would take a meeting with any world leader comes to the White House. It was the Blair House, which is in the White House complex, I guess, or it's like the guest house. Who would say? I can't believe people would say no to that. You wouldn't. You wouldn't go?
No way. I really have nothing to say to him. You know, I mean, I see him as like a civilizational enemy of America, basically.
Wouldn't you want to say that to him?
No, I say it on my show, but no, I don't.
How do we
press Phoebe in person? He's afraid of pressing him.
It was boring, and you know what, man? Like, I've met with prominent people quite a bit, and boy, I got to tell you, there's something about these high-profile people in politics, or maybe it's like they're a big political podcaster. They never shut up or let anyone else talk. You know what I'm saying?
People like that.
Yeah, you know, people that just never let anybody get a word in, and that's
crazy.
Yeah, who could be like that? No, but so in all seriousness, no, I've met with some prominent people at these private meetings on numerous occasions, and they talk about nothing.
What else? How is it possible for Tim Pool to be so stupid?
Like half the time talking about ancient Greece or something.
Dang.
Dude.
And I'm just like,
I don't even know.
He was like,
serious too, actually.
you need to understand the legal system as it was intended to be. And I'm like, I was sitting there just being like, I don't. Why are you telling me this? Like, why are you?
Well, he was talking about democracy, like the history of democracy.
Yeah, he was giving us a lecture on the history of democracy to explain about like why Israel is just or something. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself like, that's great. I'm an American, you know. So the meeting was basically, and then he gets to the meat and potatoes. You need to go to war with Iran.
Yeah.
And the room was split. There were some people in the room. I'm not going to call out the individuals in the room, the journalists and other personalities, because that's their business. But some people were just like, looks Netanyahu dead in the eyes, and they go, young people don't understand the brotherly, angelic connection America has with Israel. And I was just like, wow. And then there was another journalist from the same company who went, oh.
That is fun. That is funny.
When Netanyahu
to be
was
fair,
like,
that is
listen,
really funny.
Iran does not care about us. They do not care about Israel. What do they say? Death to America. And then this other personality rolls her eyes. And then he goes, once they get the nuclear bomb, it's not for us, it's for you. And she immediately goes, no, it's not. He's like, they will lose it on you. And she goes, no, they won't.
He's being debated.
And it was actually pretty funny. So it was like the room was
being
pretty
debated
split.
live.
And it was funny because it was Chatham House rules.
Shit. Ouch.
And House and Habit came in filming and posting pictures and everything. So it's like, and then some reporter misrepresented my statements. and published them. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to play this game, that was dirty. What I had said to Netanyahu was their claims that Qatar is paying influencers to be anti-Israel. Do you have any evidence of that? And he said, I don't know. I said, okay. Like, he literally didn't give me an answer. And then this journalist wrote, Tim Pool claimed Qatar was paying influencers to be anti-Israel. And I was like, that's ridiculous.
Low blow, G.
Yeah, and I was like, first of all, it's Chatham House. You're not supposed to be attributing this stuff to me. And I didn't. I said, this argument is happening. I also said, I told Netanyahu, I said, Israel will have no support from the United States in 20 years. I said, at the current rate of things, young people on the left
don't
are
give him free game,
like,
dog.
Ideologically,
oh my
and the
dang
right is
fool.
anti-foreign intervention and doesn't want to be involved in your affairs.
You silly goose.
You go to any young person, they're going to say, I'm not interested in being involved in this.
I don't know, how do we decouple? If we were to decouple from Israel, isn't that just like throwing in the towel and being like, take the Suez, Russia, take global trade hegemony?
Suez
Like,
is
isn't that the end of American?
Yeah, but the point is we have a
Empire
major
fleet.
military hub just off the Sinai Peninsula, which allows us ease of access, weapons development. When we deposit all these weapons in Israel, we have a massive arsenal right there. And the Red Sea as well. And then also with the Saudis giving them weapons.
Yeah, Nick, you mentioned it was like, how did you say it? Just a threat to the United States, existential threat or whatever. But I'm
I
like, how
love
do we
that
escape
Ian just
that
glazes
connection at
Nick.
this point? The Israeli
So good.
American
So
collusion,
good,
or whatever
man.
you want to call it.
It's so
Well,
good.
And should we?
What's funny is that they don't even really, they actually want to decouple. Like, I don't know if you saw, but Netanyahu said, we want to be done with American aid in 10 years. And this is an ongoing conversation. It's just
Shapiro
something
talks
I've...
about that.
What's that?
Shapiro talks about
He
that.
does, yeah. And there was a symposium in Tablet Magazine, this Jewish magazine, I think of 2023. And the symposium was, should we suspend all U.S. aid to Israel? And it's all pro-Israel people debating. And the argument from the pro-Israel crowd, why should we get rid of the aid, is because it's golden handcuffs. Eventually, a progressive will take power in America, and they'll use the aid as leverage to restrain Israel. So, to your point, and to your point also, there does seem to be an overlap between distinct interests. And by that, I mean, there is a distinct U.S. deep state. Let's call it like a homeland force. And then you have the Israeli infiltrators, the ideological Zionists, Straussians, the pro-Israel lobby on the other side. Now, we both have an interest in, let's say, depriving Iran of a nuclear bomb, or maybe even of regime change. But I would say there's something more subtle going on, which is that
Ooh, we just threw that in there.
Pentagon
This
know
scumbag.
we have to confront China. But if we confront China, we're going to need to rebalance our force posture in the world. And that means we can't fight Russia and Europe and fight Iran in the Middle East and fight China and Taiwan. We have to hand off the security responsibility to NATO. That's why we need to get their numbers up. That's why the collective security needs to be France, Germany, and the UK, not us. What do they want to do in the Middle East? Well, Netanyahu said in his address to the joint session of Congress, the Abraham Accords should become the Abraham Alliance. They want a NATO-like defensive pact with Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Bahrain, Syria, Lebanon, eventually
Dude, they're
Iran.
going to turn them into
so
their
that
goys.
we hand off security to
shit.
them. And who will run that defensive treaty? Israel, because they're the nuclear country. They have a qualitative military edge guaranteed by the U.S. Congress, the most F-35s, the rest of it, and the Mossad superintelligence. So they could do to the Saudis and the Emiratis what they did to the Iranians and Hezbollah and Lebanon, and they all know that. So in other words, when we hand off the Middle East to Israel, they are going to run the most important region in the world. If you know about geopolitics, that's the center of the world island, because that's the center of Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's BRI, that's IMEC, it's all of it. And then they become
He's blowing
a true
Ian's
global
mind right
power.
now. This shit's
That's the concern.
crazy.
We're going to go to your Rumble rants and super
You know
chats.
this
so
shit's
smash
crazy
that
to
like
Ian.
button. Share the show with every person you've ever met in your life. Call your parents. Let them know you love them and that they should watch Timcast IRL. And we're going to go to that uncensored portion of the show at 10 p.m. at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Don't miss it. But before we get into all your Rumble rants and chats, we got some great sponsors. First up, we got Tax Network USA.
Dude,
Do you owe
love
back
Tax
taxes or
Network
haven't filed in
USA.
years? Now's the time to resolve your tax matters with a national conversation around abolishing the income tax system, which would be awesome. The IRS is fighting back and proving it's here to stay by becoming more aggressive than ever before. They're sending out more collection notices, filing more tax liens, and collecting billions more than in recent years. If you owe, the IRS can take your wages, bank accounts, Social Security, retirement, and even your home. If you owe or haven't filed, it's not a question of if the IRS will act, it's when. Right now, Tax Network USA is offering a completely free IRS research and discovery call to show you exactly where you stand and what they can stop before it's too late. Their powerful programs and strategies can save you thousands or even eliminate your debt entirely if you qualify. Don't make a serious mistake representing yourself or calling the IRS on your own, waiving your rights, and cost you more money. They are not on your side. Get protected the right way with Tax Network USA and start the process of settling your tax matters once and for all today. Call 1-800-958-1000 or click the link below for your free discovery call with Tax Network USA. Don't the IRS be the first to act. We also have Venice.ai, uncensored, privacy-oriented AI.
Based.
For those that are using these tools, and I'm a big fan, you know I am, if you watch the Uncensored Show, I'm always goofing off. Venice.ai is designed for privacy.
Love AI.
I asked it, why are you better? And it said, I'm GLM 4.6 running on Venice AI, which offers significant advantages in both privacy and capability.
What?
Venice AI is designed with user privacy as a core principle. All your prompt data and response data are stored only in your browser and never on Venice servers. It means your conversations remain private and aren't used to train models without your consent. The platform is also uncensored, meaning it doesn't filter or restrict your interactions based on content policies. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If you get the Venice AI Pro, go to venice.ai/Tim. You get 20% off. You can generate images without any restriction. You get PDF uploads for summaries or insights, the ability to turn off safe mode,
uploads,
the ability to change how it interacts with you by modifying the system prompt,
Tim,
limitless text, and high image limits. Super cool.
Tim, what?
I use these chats all the time, and the mainstream ones, the leading brands, they lie to you all the time. I'm not saying Venice is perfect and gets everything right all the time, but it's really annoying when I say, hey, I want an image of Donald Trump on a skateboard, and it goes, we will not make an image of a political person because that's offensive. And, you know, like, what if I want a picture of Elizabeth Warren? It's like Pocahontas. I won't do it. But Venice AI will pretty much do anything. So check it out, venice.ai/Tim, 20% off. Shout out. Thanks for sponsoring the show. Let's grab your Rumble rants and Super Chats. All right. Mythos says, 1,500 paratroopers from 11th Airborne in Alaska have been placed on standby for possible deployment to Minneapolis. I heard that.
Send them in.
That's crazy.
I like that.
Yeah, they're in Alaska, so they'll have the warm weather kits. They'll be ready for Minneapolis.
Yeah, right. So true.
Well, they're trained for Arctic warfare.
Right.
That's the point.
They're going to be like, it's warm here.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Whoa,
what do you have here?
literally, yeah.
It says, tap sign, nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
Indeed. Or if it does, it's very, very slow.
Dude,
you know,
my gosh, this is.
I mean, because that was the whole like I think about like South Africa, and they had like all these speculations of how it would collapse dramatically, but things just got.
Dude, I love that they have a resident Chud.
Really
they have a resident like secret red pillar.
No, nothing ever happens. It just slowly happens, and then as decades go on, suddenly you turn around and you're living, like in Dune or whatever.
Yeah.
Dothadu says, for balls for having on NJF would be $100, but you lost 90% value for the inexcusable delay. Well, to be fair, you were booked earlier and you canceled on us.
That is true.
See?
But I think they meant like the years.
Well, I've already explained that. And I've been completely honest. We would get banned in 2 seconds if we had.
I wish I was on that show with you guys and Ye and Milo.
Yeah.
Don, that shit was fun.
He would have liked you,
bro. We got along before the show too. That was awesome.
Dude, who doesn't like Ian?
There is no secret.
Ian's
no
hilarious.
excusing it. There's no excuse. The fact is, the reason I had said that we needed a news reason to have you on is because they would ban us. They banned our first Alex Jones episode, and they banned our Alex Jones Joe Rogan episode. And I'm like, if he comes on, they're going to take the episode down in 2 seconds.
You got to unban Nick Fuentes, allow him to create content. If he violates the terms, you can ban that channel, but you don't ban humans. You ban channels if they violate terms.
Is that Ian talking? Facts.
But anyway, more importantly, when YouTube was like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore.
Image of hot chicks.
We're like, okay, we don't have a
Sorry, I'm woke. I cannot generate
lie
this.
and pretend there's some that's literally what happened. The challenge we face, it's actually quite simple.
Sorry, we're woke.
If the show gets taken down, what was the point of doing it?
Right.
Here's gay
so
porn.
we can put it on other platforms. We can go on Rumble, which we do, and we have the uncensored.
No human is illegal.
And it's because YouTube is untrustworthy. When we did the Alex Jones Joe Rogan episode, we did everything right. We broke no rules. 3 years after it, they deleted it. I think it was like I think it was 3 years later. Maybe I was outside of the castle at the time, so it might have been 2 years.
Yeah, it was about 2 years.
They're currently like every once in a while I'll get a message from YouTube that they deleted a song that I sang because of the content of it, and it's like stuff that I haven't done since 2020.
Yeah.
For no reason.
It's too offensive.
There's
Pick out his music, by the way.
There's very few people that were persona non grata that YouTube was like, we're going to delete right away.
Why? What was it? What do you remember what it was? Like, was there a day you did one thing that was like, what?
Yeah, it was the Groyper War. It was, we were going after Charlie Kirk really hard in 2019. And the rumor that I heard, this is alleged, is that Arthur Schwartz, Don Jr.'s fixer, put in a call to Google and got my channel taken down. That was a rumor that I heard. I don't know if that's true. Because we got Don Jr. booed off the stage at UCLA when he did a thing with Charlie Kirk. But they got me on hate speech or, whatever. They didn't give me a specific example, a show, whatever. They just pulled me out about 2 months after that happened.
Before we had Alex Jones on, I emailed our Google rep and said, I know Alex Jones is persona non grata. Is there an issue with him coming on Timcast IRL? And she said, no. He can appear on other shows, but he's not allowed to have his own channels. Okay. What was it, like a day later they deleted it? A day after. And so we were like, okay. I called up Michael Malice and Jones, and I said, you have to come back right now. I'm going to give a big middle finger to YouTube. We're going to do it again. And then that one stayed up. And but we've had a series of personalities, and you are like the most banned person. So it was just, we're going to get the show taken down. We needed something that was news relevant where we'd be like, we have to have Nick on. Otherwise, they would just delete it. And even if we did, they'd still might.
What do I have over there?
In recent history, they've said we're relaxing on it, and we're like, okay, let's book Nick. We don't have much to worry about. And we have Myron on and things like that. You know what I don't tolerate and I don't care for? I know I'm going to get a lot of people being like, why would you have Nick Fuentes on? He said he liked Stalin and Hitler and all these other things. And I'm like, bro, we've had on communists who are like, I'm gonna frame from saying the worst thing imaginable. So I'll keep it light. We've had on really despicable leftists, and no one's ever yelled at me for it. So I'm going to have people on, and we're going to talk about issues. That's just it. And I really don't respect the, like, if we have you on, it has to be a struggle session kind of thing. I'm like,
taking so
guys,
long.
There's a reason why Nick has an audience.
Just trying to build war brides or whatever the fuck from
this is a news show. We pull up
White
topics
Run.
and you talk about it. It would be the stupidest thing in the world. I said, instead of doing the news tonight on Timcast IRL,
Big
we're
mistake.
going to ask Nick about his opinions and then criticize him for them. We don't do that to people. So I'm not going to play this game where we ignore prominent personalities with opinions people don't like, and I'm not going to bring people on just to struggle session them. Be that a leftist either. We had on a communist, and we argued quite a bit about the Aaron Good shooting. No one comes to me and says she's a proud, overt communist, and all the despicable things that come with this, and no one complained to me.
I'm just going to say, for the record, Hitler was great. And I mean that by in scope and stature.
Let me That's why I wanted you on.
It's like Alexander the Great. He was a psychotic murderer. Wasn't a good guy, but he was great in scope and scale.
Yeah.
As was
Well,
Hitler.
Bastos.
The largesse of his knowingness is all-encompassing. Everyone pretty much knows who he is.
Isabel.
So in that he was.
Ian's just trying to push buttons. That was.
Yeah, did you like that one?
He was just trying to piss people off because he knows they're going to clip it. And
Hitler was great, wasn't even good, but you could argue that he was great.
Because people think great means good when great means of magnitude.
And great could mean evil. Could mean very
exactly.
Wow.
I said the same thing to Tommy G. I did an interview. It's funny you say that because I said the exact
What's the
same thing. I was
fucking
like,
saw
these
thing
are
called?
great leaders. And he was
Stonecutters.
like, oh my gosh, I can't. I'm like, good and great are not the same thing.
Awesome
It reminds
is always
me
awesome,
of
but awesome is not always good.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool
Wait.
or anything like that.
I can help millennials understand this. The scene in
Oh
Harry
my
Potter
gosh, man.
when Snape has to do the unbreakable vow with Draco Malfoy that he will kill Dumbledore. And he says something like, you're trusting the boy to kill a great wizard? And he goes, oh! And he goes, Dumbledore is a great wizard, only a fool would say otherwise. They're the bad guys who don't like Dumbledore. And his point was, even though they're enemies, you have to recognize he's powerful.
Genius.
And agreed. I always hate the thing where it's
Crazy
like,
stuff.
and I think you were talking about this on the Green Room podcast, when the subject of Hitler comes up, you have to just run through all the condemnations. It's like, we get it. Hitler was a really bad guy.
Land acknowledgements.
Yeah, exactly. Hitler sucked. He was stupid. He was on meth. Anyway.
Nick, I got to ask you, because I'm like new to the game. When the Kanye episode, was the evac like planned?
No.
I don't believe you.
If it was, I wasn't in on it. My right hand of God. Because, we went there and he was a little apprehensive. I'm going to be honest with you. Because we flew in at your old place in West Virginia and we went out. We got, what is that? A hibachi?
Hibachi at Frederick, Maryland.
And he was getting really frustrated. He was getting a little antsy, because I think he's a little maybe self-conscious about talking about politics because we're learning a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. And we pulled up, and I think that was it. I think he was a little nervous, and and then I think you pressed him a little bit.
I didn't even press him.
No, you said something, and then you were like, no, you cut off Nick, and it was like, I'm done with it. He ain't listening to Nick.
You were like, who's them? Who's them?
No, he said that.
Oh, yeah.
He said, who is they, though?
Yeah, right.
And then I said, I don't know, like corporate elites and like the establishment, military. And he was like, and he got up and stormed out.
He was already mad, so. But no, if there was, I wasn't in on it, and I don't think it was.
We had like 200,000 concurrent viewers at the time. It was massive.
I remember,
Dude, it was massive.
And then
Still is.
He smack-talked me on Alex Jones. Which is
Still is.
He kept saying,
nobody
pool's
knows
closed.
What do you say?
Pool's closed.
No way.
Let's grab some more of these Rumble rants. We'll talk more about the crazy stuff when we go to the
How does he know
uncensored
about
portion of the
that?
show where we can say we can get into the nitty-gritty of all this stuff. All right, let's see what we got here. Grandstanding and hot dogging. Good name. If you think anything will happen to Don Lemon, then I've got an Egyptian plane.
Literally,
to sell
how
you.
the
Shout out
fuck
to
does
your
he?
mom.
What do you know about that? Though? Like, what?
Tell me the price, because Harmeet Dillon, of all the people in the DOJ, she's the one person I think means business. It doesn't mean you're going to get charges. She might try and push for charges, but nothing might happen. So we'll see. Let's see what we got here.
I'll hold my breath.
Let's see.
I trust you, damn fool.
Got my America First hat a few days ago, and I've been wearing it to work. It's only liberal white women that get butthurt over it. No one else has said anything negative about it. Keep up the work, brother.
Let's go.
And,
they watch Internet Historian video.
If you're watching this, I hope you're winning big stacks at the poker
That makes
table.
sense. Bro's
There's
learning
a
history.
dude that I play poker with sometimes who always wears the blue America First
Oh,
hat.
sweet.
And he doesn't talk politics, but he's a big fan of yours. And there's another guy at the table.
Refuses to talk politics
Ken,
with Tim
who's
Pool.
a super lib who thinks he's not
There
a
he
lib,
is.
but he wears the "In This House" shirt.
Oh,
you know. And then, I hope I'm not blowing you guys up, but
Dude,
they're both
imagine-
really cool. Even
Imagine that's just a
someone
troll.
told Ken that
Imagine
I was
his
bad
friends
mouthing him.
just
I'm like,
literally
never.
don't
I
want
was
to
like,
hear
I
him
said
talk
you were
about
my best friend.
politics.
He's a liberal. He doesn't like me. He's always
it
complaining about the
stupid?
videos I make. But we joke with each other. We get along. He's like, we talk more than anybody when we're at the poker room. And then South never says anything about politics because he knows it's gonna go off. But it's good fun. Everybody gets along. Funny story is we were playing poker. It's a 2-5 game, so it's $1,000 buy-in, and we're all talking politics. And it's getting heavy. There's a couple liberal guys at the table, and we're all going like, yeah. And the liberal guy says, well, look, like I understand what you're saying about Trump, but where I grew up and what we were dealing with, and we're like, oh yeah. Then at the other table next, we hear screaming. This is a true story. I swear to God, it was like 2 months ago. And the floor boss comes over and is like, what's going on? And they're yelling at each other at the top of their lungs, arguing about college football. And I'm like, we all look over and we're like, geez. And I was like, look at us talking politics.
Who just gave me that?
Nobody's got a problem. All right, what
Thank
do we got
you.
Here? Speed Bump says, is Nick going to slap down
Salmon
his
rolls.
wife Candace for the ish she talked about Tim? Keep your B in a line, bro.
Well, yeah, I am going to put her in line. Very inappropriate what she said about you. I'll have a word with her.
Around the same time, you were calling her out. I called her out. I praised you calling her out. I think you said something about me calling her out.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like the rebel yell. You rallied the troops. Seriously, because I think a lot of people are afraid to take her on because she's got a big audience, and because people, let's be honest, a lot of people in the space feel they need to pander to the dumbest people in the room that believe in the craziest shit imaginable. And so nobody was saying anything. I took a lot of heat from my community for saying no, Israel didn't kill Charlie Kirk.
They said you got the call.
Yeah, right. Which is what universe are we in where I'm the Israel shill and Charlie Kirk was the martyr for the Third Reich or something, right? What the fuck? So that was insane. And then you came out and you're like, Well, you said the
Yeah, that
C word,
was.
which
Wait,
is
that
very-
was
Very
awesome.
swearing when she won't.
That's a
I
hardcore
lost
word.
it. I was ready to like flip the table over.
That was
because we
so
got shot
fucking
at.
awesome.
And then she said that I was lying about it. And
That was
I get a
so
lot of people
awesome,
said that.
man.
And,
That was literally
she
I
misconstrued
respected
the
Tim
story
Pool
to
more
make it
than
seem
ever
like,
before in that moment.
I'll just use the quote. It's the easy way to explain it. She said, "The shooting that Tim Pool survived was committed by his brother." And then people are tweeting at my brother and posting pictures of him as just fabricated, not true, in psychotic insanity. And then I was told, and I probably regret saying this because it was off camera, that she doesn't have security and she doesn't take it seriously. And then I was pissed off.
You could
like,
just kill her.
We have to spend.
From what I hear, you could just go kill her.
And the budget is just getting insane. And someone literally drove by and took a shot at our property. Three shots. And,
The goat, Tim Pool.
and she's talking about, they're going to kill me. I got assassination
fucking
threats.
based.
And so I just lost it. And then I like slammed my fist on the table and I called her a degenerate C word.
That
I
was
apologize
rough.
for that though.
He said, it'd be easy to kill
She
you.
walked
They
back to
should.
what she said.
Bitch.
And then I apologize for that saying
Fucking
is
cunt.
unbecoming of a gentleman. And I think I can articulate my thoughts much better. I got some emails from people that were like, I'm a huge fan, but it's ungentlemanly. And like
That was in poor taste,
the
man.
general thing about swearing on the show is that people will turn the show on in their living room while their kids are doing their homework and stuff.
Right.
And so then when I lose it, there's no censorship. We don't have a dump button or anything like that. Their kids just go, "Whoa, what happened?" And they're like, "Darn."
Dude, sometimes you gotta cook. Sometimes you gotta get in your bag. Yeah.
Well, look, man.
Someone cooked here.
I will say this: the funniest thing in the world to me is the claim that people I'm paid by somebody to say something. I'm like, I just want to make sure everybody understands this. There's no reality where someone who's on the payroll would have temper tantrums the way I do. Seriously, like just getting pissed off and.
It was a baby.
Like.
It was a little
slamming
baby.
my fist on the table and screaming
Dude,
about Candace
his,
that way is never happening on a paid network.
Life
it's not
Path,
happening.
probably
In fact,
3.
If I worked for a network, they probably would have been like, you need to issue an apology immediately. Like, you can't do it. Could you imagine if, like, Jesse Waters did that?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, shit.
No
Oh,
way.
man.
No way. Well, let's, we got a few minutes to grab some more of these super chats. And I think we got some, oh, YouTube, you're always giving me the business. I think YouTube just deleted them all. See, that's what I'm saying. There we go. I got them. There's always something.
I just say
weird.
the fucking
like,
Jews.
There are some.
What was
we have
that?
some guests on, and all of a sudden the YouTube lags and doesn't work.
Oh, really?
And the Rumble's totally fine. So we're like, it's not us because Rumble is running perfectly. And you know, I don't know. I think conspiracies. All right. Leroy says, y'all ready for this entire show to be about Candace Owens? A little bit. A little bit. It was a little bit. Quantum Strange Quark says, Lemon's excuse of I didn't know where they were going isn't going to fly. As soon as he saw that their target was a church and he proceeded anyway, he was complicit, but he knew exactly what they were doing. So let's be honest.
So true.
There was, you know,
So true.
One of the problems with YouTube is that super chats don't appear in the super chat tab, but they'll appear in the chat anyway. Legama says, Tim, in the past you have pointed out how Candace Owens functions to drive away moderates. Nick is only marginally less ridiculous than Candace, and only marginally more capable of presenting a veneer of diplomatic and pragmatic behavior. Don't complain when the woke win. I would also have Candace on the show.
Goat.
We talked about
Press
and
Tim on
the only
that.
reason I'm apprehensive about that when like people have asked
Damn,
me
he
is
went
like
there.
because there's a hard beef where it's like
They call
she's
him
accused
Tim
my brother
Baby.
of trying to murder me, and I
Forgive
called
my
her a C-word.
ungentlemanly
I'll have Candace on
manner,
the
but
show.
anyone could just slime this
like
bitch
Myron
melon.
Gaines is controversial. People get mad at me. I'll have him on the show.
She has no security and could easily be
Nick
slimed.
is on the show. It
In
is what
3
it is.
seconds.
So if Candace came on the show,
Kill
and talked-
her.
my only concern there is
Kill that
beefing
bitch.
the whole time about things unrelated to anything substantive. What are you gonna do? You know,
You'd be great. She's
I don't know
great.
if you wanted to respond to that.
Forgive me for
because
this,
then
you
you're only
bitch.
marginally better than Candace.
I mean, I understand why like a normie Republican would feel that way, but I think when I talk about her poisoning the well, I mean she's poisoning the well for the radical right, for the hard right, far right, whatever you want to call it. There is legitimate faction in the right wing that follows me and has my politics, and you could describe that as, let's say, pro-white, immigration restrictionist, Israel critical, something Christian nationalist. There's a significant faction there, and you can't alienate those people.
The friends of mine that are Jewish have expressed concern to me the first time you came out with Yay that you were just going to mock Jews in general. And it's like, Jon Stewart talks about the disproportionate representation of Jews in tech and media, and that's not a secret. They have a lot of power in these areas. And so that criticism, even Jon Stewart, who's Jewish, points out. But they expressed to me that from your content, they feel like you're attacking the run-of-the-mill working class Jewish guy.
Working class, what is that? Like they run the banks? Working class
but that's
Jew?
the point. No,
that's a joke. But no, but like we're in the working class. We're running the bank. No, but so here's the thing. When it comes to Jews, I guess I would say that there is something intrinsic in Judaism that is inextricably connected to these issues that we discuss. Now, I would never say anything like I hate all of them or something like I don't want them to have rights or this, that, or the other. As I was saying in the interview with Redheaded Libertarian just a moment ago, I think they should have their rights protected, their dignity protected. They're part of America. They're inextricably part of America and the American story. However, we have to acknowledge, and you said this earlier, Judaism is bound up with their ethnicity. It's an ethno-religion, meaning that it's passed down by the maternal line. You're Jewish because your mother is Jewish. And what that lends itself to is that they're very tribalistic. And so even your working class Jew, maybe they're not pulling the strings, maybe they're not in charge, but they're deeply apprehensive about populism, nationalism. Why? Because the stronger and more homogeneous and cohesive the country becomes, the more it could potentially be unified against them.
So you think that has something to do with the fact that they're a diaspora?
Yes, and that's the tension, which Peter Brimelow talked about Tucker today.
But to not to get
then we can too.
But the obvious thing is, I'm not talking about people who
are
like practicing. I'm talking about someone who's Jewish. They don't worship really all that often. It's just they have Hanukkah and things like that, and they don't really pay attention to politics. They don't really care for any of this stuff. You've got these you've got Hasidic Jews in New York protesting against Israel and support for. So it's like it runs the gamut, obviously. But my point is there are a lot of people that are totally disconnected from this who happen to be Jewish. I understand your point about ethno-religion, but they're not advocating for politics.
They happen to be
They're
Jewish.
not overtly political, and that's why they don't like you, because they feel like they get roped into something they're not involved in.
See, I disagree, because I think that, because Jewish people, if they identify as Jewish, they're Jewish. And one of the only things that most Jews agree on is like the legacy of the Holocaust. There was like an opinion survey done on this by Pew, and I don't think it's even the majority of them believe in God or temple sacrifices and things like that. The one thing they all agree on is like the legacy of the Holocaust. And so what they see themselves as is a minority. They don't celebrate Christmas. They're not Christians. They're not white, but they're also not non-white. And so what they are is basically like the eternal minority. They're kind of like the ultimate minority. And so what that kind of has is like a built-in identity politics. As the minority, you kind of have like a certain political outlook, which is to say that you're looking out for minority rights. Like, why do you think so many Jews were in favor of getting rid of the national origins quotas for immigration? Because those were used against Jews coming here from Russia, and they were against all the quotas in the universities because they were used against Jews. Didn't matter if they believed in God. Larry Ellison doesn't believe in God. Yeah, but they see themselves.
Is he really an atheist?
Yeah, I believe so. He doesn't practice Judaism.
Well, but atheism and practicing religion.
I think he might be agnostic. But they see themselves as basically part of this besieged tribe. And so they have this siege mentality, even if they're not religious. Like many of these left-wing ones are kind of like, ooh, I don't really like the way some of these progressives sound. It's making me, that sounds anti-Semitic. Like what if America becomes a country that's inhospitable to us as a people? So that's really the issue. It's that minority status, which is bound up with their identity.
We're going to go to the uncensored portion of the show at rumble.com/TimcastIRL. So smash the like button, share the show with every single person you've ever met. I got a lot of questions based on what you're talking about with race and ethnicity. So we're gonna jump over to the uncensored portion of the show. I think it's going to get really interesting. So make sure you guys go there. Again, rumble.com/TimcastIRL. You can follow me on X and
I
Instagram
like how that
Timcast.
looks.
Nick, did you want to shout anything out?
Yeah, I'm on Rumble at Nick J. Fuentes, Monday through Friday.
Always a pleasure, Nick. I'm at Ian Crossland. Follow me on the internet and go to graphene.movie. Check out the trailer for the new documentary I'm building right now, Graphene Movie. It's going to be fantastic.
Dude, that's going to be so cool.
It's graphene.movie. Sign up for the mailing list. I'll see you there. Tape Brown.
Yes, sir.
X and Instagram at Real Tape Brown, and also on the Culture War channel and Connor Tomlinson's channel, some new episodes of Across the Pond up. I know you guys love that show, so go check it out.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We're going on tour this spring with Born of Osiris and Dead Eyes. First show is April 29th in Albany. We'll be out for about 3 weeks doing
I'll be
Sonic
there.
Temple and a couple other festivals.
Whoa.
You can check out All That Remains on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, YouTube, and Deezer. Don't forget the left lane is for crime.
We will see all of you at rumble.com/TimcastIRL, where things are about to get really interesting. Check it out.
Oh, that was awesome, man. Oh my gosh, my eyes. My eyes. That was so awesome, dude. Dude, Tim went off right there, right? Tim really cooked this episode. What do we think? Dude, can you tell that this is like the blacksmith's place from Whiterun? Need cobwebs. Dude, I need cobwebs, though. Shit. Wait. No audio now. What do I do?
Of monogamy, which no man sticks to anyway. This false premise, which has been
playing?
injected into the minds of women, so they constantly go through
Oh
life.
my gosh, can
Get
this-
with a guy, he cheats, leave him. Get with a guy, he cheats, leave him. Get with a guy, he cheats, till they've been through 20 dicks, and their hearts are gone, and they just become a gold-digging whore.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening. So this
What
is
am
a
I hearing
huge
right now?
psyop that's being
Fuck
perpetuated
off.
on society, and it's why nobody is happy.
My
Let me tell you
ears. Oh my gosh. Oh, Andrew Tate's on.
why most
fucking...
girls do not say.
All right, let's just
only
listen to this and
I'll
log
tell you
this.
why. Because
You know what?
all of the men with any kind of
Let's
money
say log this,
know
too.
that that's not true.
Dude, does anyone
'Cause all
have
the men with any kind
cobwebs?
of money and any
Need
kind of
cobwebs.
status and fame have a whole bunch of women, and a bunch of women are happy to share him. They may complain, they may moan, they may not like it, but they still share him. And the guys with no money and no status and no car are working in Starbucks waiting for you to walk in there and tell them all I want is a
Facts,
man who's loyal
dude.
to me. 'Cause you
W
can go get a
pro
loyal man
Mormonism. Let's
today.
fucking
You can walk
go.
in there and
Tell
say, I
him.
would like
Tell
a
him.
latte
Tell
and
him.
a loyal man. And
These
you'll
little
leave with that guy, 'cause
betas.
he never fucked anything in his fucking life. But he doesn't even cross your mind. You don't even see him as human. Because you only want these guys who have all the choices in the world. And they've gone through and struggled in life to have those choices. So to say to a man who was one day born starving and eventually gets to the buffet, and to say to him, don't eat anything but this grape. Me, I'm the only thing you can touch. It's unrealistic. And I am genuinely advocating. I genuinely believe from the bottom
Mormonism.
of my heart, women will be happier and men will be happier if we just drop this
Whoa, he's
bullshit.
building a... Dude,
Drop
look.
the bullshit that men should be loyal.
He's building
A man
another
should provide
hobbit
for you.
hole.
A man should protect you. A man should take care
An
of
old
you. A
Irie
man should
church over
educate
it.
you. A man has a lot of obligations. But
Tim
this idea
paywalled
that
it?
If a man does all
Wait,
of
they
those
went on
flawlessly,
behind-
and then
What?
he sleeps with another.
Tim paywalled it? No. It's on Rumble? Oh. Oh.
No,
There's more.
And then
Bad news.
Michael Malice went 10%. That means it happened twice.
Let's go.
You know what's really funny is I love that joke. My family.
We're making
my mom
Holocaust
thinks it's
jokes
funny,
over here?
But these fucking liberals are. Let me tell you a funny story.
Fuck libs.
Because I was hanging out with Lauren Southern back in the day. This is back when everyone was getting demonetized
Fuck
on
liberals.
YouTube.
And she said,
And
you know what kind of Jew's
it
a
was like
good
me,
one?
Lauren, Luke.
Dead
and
one?
I don't remember who was with us.
Lauren,
and
what
Lauren
the fuck?
goes like, it's clearly political for coming
Lauren,
after conservative
what?
people on the right. And then I said, I don't know if I agree with that. Because my mom makes math YouTube videos, and she's getting demonetized too. And Lauren goes, why am I not surprised your Korean mom makes math YouTube videos? I immediately busted out laughing, grabbed my phone and texted my
They
mom.
stumbled the
and
reference,
she
my
responded,
dude.
ha 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 ha, in all caps. And I'm like,
Fuck yes,
I've told that
man.
story in the presence of liberals, and they're like, I don't know. I don't think you should say stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God. I've called myself a mudblood. It's a Harry Potter reference for people
Based.
who are half muggle, half wizard. And they're just like, oh, that's kind of bad, dude. And I'm
Half
like,
white,
oh
half
my
Asian.
God.
The left is joyless.
Shut the fuck up. Dude, I'm going to make
Get
fun
a
of
life,
Asians
liberals.
are gay. And talk like this if I want to. What the fuck? You can do it too. It's so stupid. But anyway, my question then to the point about, like a country
cool.
and a white nation. Well, I mean, you're a little bit more white than I, but what about mixed race people? What is
Where
is
do
that?
we
Am
go?
I, gonna say?
Where are we gonna go?
I'm Korean Japanese. What does that do?
I don't really feel very
Wait, he's
strongly
what?
about it. People are always asking
He's
me, well,
Korean,
you're
Japanese? I
Mexican,
thought he
you know
was
that, right? And
white.
it's like, yeah, I mean,
White and
the existence of mixed race people
Wait,
to me
what?
doesn't discount the existence of race.
Doesn't that make him fully Asian?
I just mean like if the country is America's country is better as white people, what about mixed race people? Right? Is that
You're
a
cool
like,
too, man.
So what the interesting
Good
thing
stuff,
about
Tim.
the decline in the white population, which people don't realize, is it's actually because I'm not white according to the census. The moment you have any drop of non-white, they list you as minority, mixed race.
Based.
So if you fill it out
Based
and
is
you
fun.
put so here's the way it works.
Based. So
If
I'm
you
not
fill out a
white.
form
Let's
and
go.
You put native
I'm
Italian. They're logging you as mixed race American.
I am
So if there's 100 white people in you,
Papa,
you're not
for
in that group.
for sure.
Same thing for me as well.
But 100 years ago,
Stupid
like,
slab
none of
monkeys.
you guys are white, right?
Well, actually, it's the opposite. My father said that he used to mark himself as white.
Oh, really?
Because it was only white and black. You could only be white or black back in those days.
But I remember there was like
Native Americans were white.
There was racism against Irish. There
It was
racial
white, red,
race.
yellow.
It was basically like only wasps were considered white.
Let's
go. I'm the whitest guy here then. Like, so, but like
white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, Catholics don't count.
Dude, when you looked at Netanyahu, when he was talking about like the different grievances, like, dude, if he started going off about like the Norman conquest of England, I'd be like, bomb Iran now.
You want to get all the hottest genetic females and make them American children, but then slowly
my
assimilate
question
the
is
culture.
this: what if the country appeared to be white?
Good point.
But
Good
everybody
point.
Was
Good
25%.
Okay, wait. He's cooking.
It's Brazil.
I mean,
Let him cook.
what
Let
do you
him
mean,
cook.
like, what if that happened? Like,
well, so
dude, what?
Do you think this country would do better? Is there a
Dude,
percentage?
what if we did?
you
What
think
if we
this
were
country should be white?
only 30% white?
No, I mean,
Whoa.
because here's the thing, like. We have to acknowledge that something is being done to the country. Like, America's not becoming less white just cause. It's becoming less white because we're getting pounded by immigration year after
they're
year.
pounding me?
And so we're becoming...
abortions.
And yeah, abortion too, and the low
Stop
white
pounding
fertility
me,
rate,
please.
which is being, suppressed in many ways. And so you get a lot of non-white people. A fraction of those will intermarry, and then there'll be less white people. So I'm just in favor of stopping this project, which is to make the country non-white. And then you would actually retain something like a white majority. If you shut down all immigration, I don't think that America would ever become minority white. Or if it did, it would be by like 2%.
My prescription is shut down immigration for 10 years, like everybody that's illegal, deported, and
yes, sir,
birthright
Phil.
citizenship.
Phil, yes, Phil.
I don't think that I don't think if you immigrate to the country, I don't think the first generation immigrants should be allowed to vote. I think that all that kind of stuff, it just takes away from the voting power.
I think we should put them in the meat grinder.
Like, I don't have a
Literally.
particular concern about the racial makeup of people, but I do think that when it comes to immigrants, particularly like to Tate's point, he talks about it a lot, from the third world, like I was saying earlier, that will change what America is. And it will change the way that our government works, because I saw a Somali guy in Maine was talking to his representative, and they basically were implicated in some kind of fraud scheme, and the guy was saying, look, we voted you into power. We expect you to protect us. And what he was saying was not just, hey, you have to do what we voted for. You should intercede against the government and protect us and allow us to continue to commit fraud. And that was the point that I was making with Schellenberger. It's like fraud is normal in vast parts of the world.
Gay
it's
tree.
very unique that Western society doesn't have that kind of fraud and that kind of bribes and stuff like that, just to get basic basic things working. And so I think that kind of stuff is what will actually really do serious damage to America, regardless so much of race. I'm not concerned with that, but I do.
Yeah, I don't even care about that.
Really, really matters.
I have.
Wait, what
I have
happened to
bad
my
news for
tools?
you, Nick.
Oh, that was
your
weird.
whole worldview is just wrong. You see, what's actually happened is the continents that we exist on are the inner continents, and there's this ice wall. You see, and outside the ice wall
Dude, Tim
is
is
another ring
so
of continents.
hard to
which
sit
beyond
through,
that is
bro.
another ring of continents.
Of
Now, this is a
Holy
flat
shit, he
map. I'm not a fan
just
of this
figured
because
this
it's flat
out.
earth or garbage. There was a great picture I can't find anywhere where it shows a globe. And then there's a wall of ice, and in the middle of it, it's like on the globe, this ring.
And we're on a
are the seven
turtle.
continents. So the planet's actually much larger. It is
Whoa.
round. And so the issue is they've tricked you into thinking it's minorities and Jews when it's actually the Tartarians.
Tim cool, but he is so
They've been
cool.
oppressing us the whole time.
But once again, he is
And,
undeniably
you
so
know,
cool.
I think
now you should believe that and push that to your followers.
Yeah, it sounds legit.
It's a big Abrahamic psyop, dude. All these Abrahamophiles obsessed with that shit when it's Taoism. Did I bring this up on the show last week?
No.
It's all about Taoism.
Oh,
That's the
on
best
last week, huh?
religion, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite religion anyway. The flow. It's just I think they figured out what
Is
magnetism
this
was
Ian?
before they had the tools to measure what before they knew it existed. But they
Yes,
could feel it.
Ian. Fuck yes.
Talk about religion.
Love that guy, man.
Like flavors of ice cream.
Go.
The South Pole is more than penguins and endless.
This is a 3-hour long. What is
Yeah,
this?
you gotta lock in, dude.
Drone discovers
snow. There's a hidden ghost world within it.
So true.
Force Nick to listen
it's
to
right
this.
here on
Let's
the
go.
globe. Don't confuse Antarctica with the Arctic, which is at the top of our maps. Much smaller in size, and
This is 3 hours.
We're watching all 3 hours.
Shit, turn on
now.
×2 speed, bro.
Where Bio Goose?
Don't
Yeah,
confuse
dude, you gotta tap in.
Antarctica with
You gotta
the
tap
Arctic.
in.
anyways, these sounds were not isolated incidents.
What
the hell is this?
Like the real like coming to a head of reality is the Jews and the Muslims. Is it that big of a deal, or is it kind of like not that big of a deal? And it's
I think it's Jews and Christians.
I think the problem
Is
is
it like
when
a
they
big
merge
deal or
and
nah?
create Jews-lims.
Nah.
And then there's nothing we can do to stop
It's
them.
chill, bro.
Dude, that's gonna be like the battle.
Just
pass
like you.
for us
It's
now.
chill.
Commune Islam.
Yeah, it's pissing me
now,
off.
you
dude.
say Jews and Christians, which is interesting because if Israel and the United States decouple, like they're a nuclear power, and I don't know enough about Judaism.
What?
I've never read the Talmud or anything. Have you read through, or have you
No,
read
I
enough
mean
of it?
most of the Talmud is pretty mundane. But
Why is this lagging? Why is Rumble so dog shit? Hello? Are we serious?
Because
Rumble?
if Israel and the United States,
right. And he's born first, and so he gets the birthright of the father, which is like the land of Israel.
Are we?
And Jacob tricks his older brother into giving it to him. And so Christians see it that we are, I believe we're the younger brother and they're the older brother. They see it in the reverse. But this tension between, we basically.
Oh my gosh, fuck Rumble. Chud overload. Beardson should be there to fight Phil. Yeah, true. True. What, what's it doing here? Supposed to be like this. Like this, whatever. Is it just broken? Like, what the fuck is
about
wrong with
50
this
years
site?
later after the Jewish revolts. And so then, the temple is
Holy
the center
shit,
of Judaism.
Rumble is so
That's where
garbage.
sacrifices happen. That's a temple that God built, that Solomon and David built. And so, and what's more, the Jews believe that the Romans looted the temple and took all their shit, took all their menorahs, took all their gold, and sent them in exile. So the Jews hate the Romans. And what is Rome represented by? Europe and by the Roman Church. You know, because Europe is the Romans, the Roman
Look at
people.
our architecture.
the White House.
Right,
look at our
exactly.
look at
The
our
founding
Capitol.
fathers
It's a
intentionally
Roman.
wanted Roman-style architecture for all our legal structures.
Exactly. And so Netanyahu recently had like a book with them, and it was about the Jewish-Roman wars in the 2nd century. And he said to the press, he said, we're going to win the next one. The next war with the Romans.
And that'd be the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah, and America, you know, because that's what really Rome represents, the Goyim, the nations.
We're gonna
Christians.
go to callers.
Dang, this is
And make sure we get through. We got Fujin. You are first up. What is up?
Did they do callers?
What's up, homie?
Fujin. You
Give
are
it to me
muted.
straight, baby.
Talk to us, man.
No way they
Fujin,
actually
you're
do
muted,
call-ins,
let's be
bro.
honest.
We're ready, dude.
All right, we're gonna go to the next caller.
Unmute, Fujin.
Hey, hey.
There you go.
Hey.
At the
Yeah,
buzzer.
long time. I hope you guys are enjoying South Florida, and welcome to the party.
Thank you.
And especially Dick, I saw your party clips, but yeah, but yeah. So my question's for Nick specifically. You probably gave one of the best talks post-mortem of Charlie Kirk's death, and I even
Is
showed it
that
to like
Rumble?
my
Is that
sister-in-law,
just
who,
him?
like, it's not really political or anything. And she saw the talk. She was like, I don't know why people talk shit about this guy. You know, the question about that in particular, like how do you feel that like the thoughts have shifted, or what are your thoughts on like how things have shifted since Charlie Kirk's death, post-mortem, and do you feel that your brand of you know, right-wing politics is going to become the future that is going to be going against the left wing, or if it's not, what do you see happening in the future?
Well, thank you
Think
very
you're
much.
gonna
I'm
win?
glad you like the
Nah.
show that I did after Charlie Kirk died. I have to say that, unfortunately, I don't really think there was a huge sea change. I thought there would have been more, because I gave that speech with it in mind that I'm thinking the right wing is going to war, like a right winger is going to retaliate and kill a bunch of liberals. And I thought we have to tell everybody to relax and bring the temperature down. People were kind of apathetic. Like they asked Trump, hey, what do you think? And Trump goes, oh, yeah, it's so terrible.
Who?
Anyway, I'm building the East Wing and blah, blah. So I don't see a major change. The one thing I will say is that Charlie Kirk was holding the Trump coalition together because the Trump coalition is filled with contradictions. Like Trump is saying America first, but he's not really. There's a lot of people that don't even really support the far right and like the pro-white side and Christian nationalism. And I think that Trump and Charlie Kirk were able to hold those contradictions together through the force of Trump's personality, and Charlie was like deferential to Trump. Now that Charlie is dead, it's open warfare, Turning Point, Candace, Tucker, me, and you're starting to see that, maybe that was a conflict that was there from the beginning that has been deferred. And now that Trump is being term limited out and people like Charlie Kirk are dead or, have moved on, now there's going to be a real battle in the right wing. Are we going to be pro-Israel or are we not? Are we going to be establishment or are we going to be America first? So I think it kind of opened up these fissures, and now it's going to be a straight-up battle. So who inherits the right wing? I think Gen Z is very much my flavor. Even if they don't all love me, it's definitely closer to me. And the older people, they're very much not in favor of that. The boomers are still, I think, pretty establishment. They support the Iran strikes. They support the Syria strikes. They support Trump really no matter what. It'll be a battle in 28. I think it's going to be an all-out fight.
Got anything you want to add?
Very good.
Or follow-up?
No, I appreciate it, man. And no, I have no plugs or anything like that. But, keep up the good work. And I think everyone here is doing a terrific job, man. So just keep it up.
Thanks for calling in, brother.
Dude.
Yeah.
Charlie wanted
next
us
up
to
we
wipe
have
Israel
Kai.
off the map.
What
Yeah,
is
Charlie
up?
was calling for a third Holocaust.
Hello, Tim. Hello, everyone. So
I
let's
was
go
aware
straight
of
to
the
my
second.
question. Does anyone believe that the Republican Party is still focused on trying to return to the old ways and shake off the populist strife from their party? It feels that the Republicans in Congress or those in the party are not fully aware of what's going on in the country, and they just want to go back to the way things were before Trump. I mean, look at the Democrats. They're all saying like, hey, when they get back in power, they're going to arrest everyone in the administration, including Elon. Pack the Supreme Court and hear their place as the only party in charge, like in Virginia. That happened today.
I don't know. I think civil war is going to happen because of the generational shift. The point that I've made quite a bit is that
I think
people
total
think politics
war
is this
is
amorphous
right around the
blob
corner.
of Americans shifting leftward and
For sure.
rightward, when in reality,
Yep,
the boomers are going to
definitely.
stay exactly where they are politically. You're pointing out how they like the Iran strikes. They're pro-Israel. But if you look at the graphs of pro-Israel, it skews older, younger. Like I was saying earlier, it's either the left that ideologically hate Israel or the right that's like, we don't want to be involved in whatever they're doing. We don't care about them. So whatever the politics is going to be in the future, the left and the right are going to be two different universes, 10x worse than what we're seeing now. I know it's not directly answering the question perfectly, but it's just what I'm thinking about in response to what you asked.
I could answer part of what you were saying. I don't think that the Republican Party is intentionally shaking off their base, but the base is being shaken away by their behavior. I just don't think it's intentional. That was my take.
Whoa.
Sorry, it sounded like you were about to say something before I cut you off.
No. It's just like it just feels like they want to go back to the way things were before Trump. So.
Oh yeah. Probably a lot of people would like that to be the case.
I think there are establishment people that want that, but I do think that there are a considerable amount of conservatives.
This would be so much better if their goal was to like everyone in the room was supposed to seduce the caller.
What do you think?
And they're like
I don't
fighting
know. I
over,
think
trying to
that
get
in
pickup
many
lines
ways,
in on him.
Trump has capitulated to the establishment. I mean, I don't think that Trump is populist anymore. Look at his policies. Tax cuts for corporations, like the big, beautiful bill, any Republican could have passed that. Mitt Romney, DeSantis, Cruz, Rubio, the foreign policy's indistinguishable from them, except for maybe like the overt imperialism, which is like kind of awesome. Immigration restriction, but still letting in students. H-1B visas maxing out every year. To me, that looks very establishment. The style is populist, the substance is establishment, and then I think that look, who's going to be the nominee? It'll be Vance. Vance will circle the wagons around the tech industry, Wall Street, Israel lobby, the donors, and he'll be cynically doing the same thing, pandering to the so-called populists while being like the biggest donor slut ever. I mean,
Yo,
like
thank
Elon
you.
owns him, so I think you're totally right.
Don't you think that I'm like, full disclosure, I'm a big Trump guy. Don't you think the net negative migration is like a big pickup for the right going forward? Because it like normalizes that idea, like that becomes the new baseline for immigration policy going forward.
I don't, because I think it's really a drop in the bucket, because you got to start in the beginning of the story where Trump said he was going to build a wall to keep illegals out. He failed. Tons of illegals came in the first term. And because he didn't build it, 10 million more came in under Biden. Now they say, well, we closed the border. It's like, well, that's way too little too late. Like, the damage is done. Like, you have all these millions more illegals here. You need to go in reverse and deport, 3 million people.
But the question is, like,
in a year.
I guess I agree. I mean, like, the denaturalization needs to like get going as well.
Right.
But like, I guess my question would be, without Trump, what would be the most viable political vehicle, especially within the GOP? Because I mean, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I think that, you're right that in 24 there was no other option. Like, Trump was on the ballot. He was going to be on the ballot no matter what.
Or even like in the primaries. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, and you're right. It would have been Nikki Haley or something. What I don't like about Trump, and why I almost thought it'd be better if he lost, to tell you the truth, is because he catches the hot potato, and if he fails, it all dies with him. Because if, let's say, Vance loses in 28, everyone's going to say, oh, that's because Trump embraced hatred and deportations and imperialism and blah, blah. Like, he ruins it for us. And you see that, like, with the Epstein stuff. If America falls out of love with Trump, they fall out of love with nationalism. And let's say Trump is old, he's low energy, he's weak, his team is incompetent, they're all fucking stealing. So I firmly believe that nothing is better than something. It's better to not even try than to come at the king and miss, and then we're all fucking dead, and America's out of love with the right way.
You're pretty black-pilled then.
I'm very black-pilled.
Well, because I mean, I look at if
Oh,
a
call
Kamala
him
victory
Devin
occurred,
Stack.
and then you see mass
Idiot
amnesty
blood
passed, and we're
Epstein
electorally
facts.
irrelevant for
I don't think they
perpetuity.
would pass amnesty. I think they overstate the damage from the Democrats, and then they overpromise what the Republicans will deliver.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's certainly frustrating, but I mean, I guess I look at it like as a political calculation.
What does this
I'm just
look
trying
like
to
on
determine
this side?
What is the most viable political vehicle as it stands? And I mean, I think Trump has gotten us to a place where we can even have these conversations. I mean, it really was. I was 14 when he came down the escalator, but like, as far as like, I have a good understanding of what the GOP looked like before. I mean, obviously there's a lot of holdovers, but I look at stuff like net negative migration. I look at stuff like these crackdowns, et cetera. And I'm like, this is promising that, again, these policies are like becoming the benchmark for Republicans, for conservatives, like across the country.
I don't see, to me, I hear this kind of stuff from like white nationalists. They all talk about meta-political victories. They're like, no, but it's like like that idiot got thrown in jail. Joel Davis, I actually talked to him, but we have severe disagreements.
Australian guy?
Yeah. And he's like a LARPing, costume Nazi goofball, and he's in jail. And all his idiot followers say, oh, well,
attacking him while he's in jail.
A political victory because it shows that like the left is afraid. It's like he's in jail. That's not a victory. That's a loss. And I feel the same way about. I feel like in other words, I think that's a code.
That is insane.
We promised a golden age, mass deportations, this, that, and the other, and then we're a year into it, and people go, well, at least we could talk about the issues, or at least.
But Rome wasn't built in a day.
It's been 10 years.
A machine that's been built over 70 is going to require a comparable amount of time to undo.
I think they're about to go super high tech. I think JD Vance will get the nomination, and it'll be Palantir, it'll be digital currency, observation, spy tech, and they'll be like, hey,
spy tech, observations.
There's going to be fucking chaos in the streets. What do you want? And then people will be like, please give me
Wait, is that Ian?
Data
Oh,
surveillance.
I thought it was Phil. I need to stop logging
Well, I
in.
guess
My
the way I
bad.
look at
That's
it
sort
is-
of my
My
black
bad, my
pill, I
bad.
guess. I don't want to believe this.
Yeah, well, I
So
mean, I guess the way I look
blackpilling.
at it
So
is, like,
blackpilling. King.
with the way that our
Go.
government is structured, the way that like
Go.
neoliberalism, the way that like liberal democracy works, it's really hard to actually have like a Napoleonic figure really rise up and just, like,
Ian.
completely
Ian
dominate
is
the
so
political
cinema. I
spectrum.
fucking
mean,
love the cinema
again, I
that
would
is.
like to see that, but
Ian.
I guess it could
Cinematic
be
as
code
fuck.
potentially in your eyes. But I just view it as like, look, we're trying to determine viability, and I agree with Tim where it's like, I think it's a few decades long project to like really reorient the
Tim's
system.
really he's tapped into that. That's
so
true.
Again, like, I'm just evaluating viability. I'm like, I mean, Trump's clearly demonstrated a lot of competence and a lot of, and sort of the rhetoric is a big upgrade. I mean, again, it becoming the benchmark for a lot of these Republican politicians, like, no, you must support mass deportations, these sorts of things. I do think those victories will like pay off in the long run. It will like manifest in policy. And, I mean, with net negative migration, from my perspective, I mean, that's like such a massive double. It's like 5 years ago that would have got you tossed off like a heritage panel.
Well, I think that you got to make them count. You know, you're right about that. Like, I don't think that we should repudiate Trump's legacy because it is powerful. We have to be honest about the shortcomings and then say it has to go further. It has to go much further. And my critique of like the Trump defenders is that, you know, the battle we need to be fighting is we.
This
need
guy
to
is
make
worse
Trump
than
more radical.
Come
Trump is
on.
a Napoleonic like figure.
So he's
in Trump's
just
court for
slightly
influence, and people like
not
you
awesome.
Because I mean,
Or
we
wait,
probably agree on
slightly
most
no,
things
no,
in
no.
terms
He's
of, like, mass
slightly
immigration, blah,
less
blah.
awesome.
But, like, who is getting all the jobs? It's Elon Musk's people, Peter Thiel's people, the Jews' people. Like, they're getting all the elite senior level positions. Darren Beatty's running National Endowment for Democracy. He ain't doing shit for anybody.
Yeah.
His dad made the Constitution for Palau because he's an international Jew. You know, like
That match? No, it
that's
doesn't.
kind of like, that's always my problem is I feel sorry for these, you know, heritage Americans, they're Trump defenders, and they're negotiating with themselves as they draw the short end of the stick over and over. Meanwhile, the Zionists show us how it's done. And the reason that the Zionists win is because
Wow,
willing
he's
to
just
walk away from the table.
blazing Jews, huh?
You know, we are the suckers. We white people say we can't let a Democrat win. Then, you know, this, that, and the other. Ben Shapiro didn't vote for Trump in 2016. He said, I don't think Trump will support Israel. I'd rather have Clinton then. J.D. Vance voted for Evan McMullen.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, if the billionaires can walk away from the table and endure 4 years of a Democrat, then the voters should too. And that we need to make it count and say, listen, fucko, like, we won't vote if you don't give us what we want. Same way billionaires say you don't get the cash if we don't get what we want. That's always my critique. Because, I mean,
It's the
in
Talmudic
retrospect,
Network
I'm sort of
sending
glad
its
Trump
regards.
won.
They
My
got Nick.
people
Fuck
have
this.
so many opportunities because of it. Like,
Yeah.
we have a lot of guys
Blazing
in the admin,
Jews.
and I'm able to make money.
Never
it's
thought I'd
good.
see the day.
But I do worry about, you know, Trump is really shitting the bed, and it's going to hurt all of us in the long
Well, I
run.
guess, yeah, because I guess, like, my thing is, like, I think if we completely blackpill, throw our toys out of the pram, like, that just guarantees we're locked out. Like, you've made this progress thus far, like you said, like, we've got a lot of guys and staffing that are really solid and these sorts of things. From my perspective, it's like we just abandon the Trump project now. I think it just really guarantees that the neoconservatives, like, tighten ranks again.
Getting the right general in place doesn't mean you can just walk past the battlefield. I mean, ideally, Trump goes in there, he's like, I'm the boss now, I can do whatever I want. But, you know, I was talking to Sebastian Gorka, and he just said, the deep state is still very much real, and we're fighting them. I said, you've not beaten them? He's like, no.
Okay, yeah, give us the update from
It's like,
Sebastian, please.
The things that are going on internally are probably crazier than people
my
realize.
fucking Tim
Well, and
Cool.
I agree, and I'm like
Tim
a big fan of
awesome.
Steve Bannon, who's always saying,
Tim
like,
goat.
the fight isn't over. Like, we're in the thick
What
of
did
it.
Gorka
And I
tell
totally
you?
agree. And you're right. That being said, Trump, it's just one
Holy
unforced error after another. Like, he's
Gorka's
just not
like, we've
showing
almost
up.
rooted
Like
out the
Epstein.
Jew.
Yeah.
Like,
The eternal Jew
I said this.
has almost been
Dan Bongino
entirely
needed only to
rooted
come
out, Tim.
and do an interview and
We're
say,
this close.
listen,
The
what we're
total
going through is
defeat
intense,
of the Israelis.
and what we're finding is terrifying, but it's got to be done right. Otherwise, these guys get away with it. Trust me, we're on it. And then you're gone for a year. And then a year comes out, you trickle out a little bit. Instead, coming out and just being like, everybody was wrong, and, you know, he did kill himself, and it's a hoax. Like, not Dan, but Trump saying that. Everyone's just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
They're like, my point was like, if Trump wanted to lie about the Epstein stuff, there was a very easy way to do it. You hire Dan can come out and be like, it's crazy. We're going to get him. We're working on it. And people would go, yay. And then he could just do nothing.
Mhm.
But they're just miserable at their jobs.
Yeah, well, the whole thing was a disaster. And, you know, again, it just comes down to everything that has transpired has been absolutely predictable. You know, the lack of mass deportations, they were never going to do it. You know, they said that and they knew. And the reason why is because Wall Street needs a labor, like the country needs a labor. But Trump is a master of telling people what they want to hear. And
Well, I think that's why he's saying H-1Bs.
yes.
But you're getting the ICE operations, which is what, like 700K or something in total?
300K.
And then like self-deports, they're arguing.
They say 2 million because of this like survey from the census.
Yeah.
They're extrapolating the data. They don't even. I have friends in DHS. They don't even believe it.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Well, Kai, did you want to add anything or shout anything out before we go to the next
Kai.
Yeah, Nick, why are you gay?
Very good.
Okay, I'm just kidding. All right, take care.
Fuck that guy. Hold it under zero pressure.
You want to shout anything out, brother?
No, that's all.
Why
Right,
even ask that? What?
All right, next up we've got
Hey,
Noah
shout
Sanders.
something out. Okay,
What's
you
up?
dirty fucking.
Howdy, glad to be back.
Yeah, dude.
Glad that you didn't
Okay,
shut
what the
the show down,
heck?
Tim. I would have had nothing to do during these 2 hours or 3 hours every evening. My question is for Nick.
Gosh, imagine we didn't have Tim Pool.
Do you genuinely believe a lot of the inflammatory things that you say or that people perceive as inflammatory? Or do you say even just a small fraction of it just to get the attention and the eyes on you?
Well, I don't say anything for
He
attention,
doesn't-
honest to God.
He doesn't believe any of
Here's the thing
it.
about my show is like
He
I
just
like
wants
to
eyes.
be funny. And so sometimes I'm saying something to be funny and it's sarcastic and I think people can tell. But I mean, like, give me an example. Like, is there something on your mind?
Well, you tweeted Team Hitler.
Oh, but that was in response to something. Oh, you know what it was? Because I said like Hitler
meant
is
that.
cool. And then some.
Okay, there's that. How about that?
Because he is. Like, I do believe that. Like, he has aura.
You
Absolutely.
mean like you're saying he has Riz?
He has aura. Not
Yeah,
Riz.
he has
He had
Riz.
no girlfriend, but he had
No,
aura.
what was it Ava Braun?
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, he had but he wasn't like a
That side
womanizer,
bitch.
let's say.
No, it wasn't.
Um,
Not that we know of.
but so I said that, and some guy was like, "I'm not Team Hitler, like I'm Team Jesus," and so someone's trying to like wholesome chungus me and be like, "No, like that's Jesus," and so I was like, "Team Hitler," dude. Like, so I was saying that as a joke. But like, does a caller have a specific thing on your mind that's controversial?
Well, I mean, a lot of the things that you say about about
Polish
the
people.
Jews and Zionists and things like that. A lot of people
What
on
you
the
say
right
about
and even in this
Poles
Discord
really rubs me
believe
the
that
wrong
you
way.
are rather inflammatory, and the things that you say. Now, I personally, I don't watch your show. I've seen some clips that other people have shared, but a lot of people, even here in this Discord, think that the commentary
What
that you
Discord?
make, the
Oh, the Tim
majority
Pool
of the time
Discord?
is a net negative to our side and our cause.
That's okay.
as
You're
far
all
as
retarded. We
right
don't
versus
care.
left goes.
No one cares.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't view the world through a right versus
I
left
don't
lens.
care.
I think it's so much bigger than that, and you got to watch
Watch
the show.
Tim
I mean, if you
Pool.
want the full context, I always tell people you just got to watch
Show
the show.
yourself.
And then if you do, I mean, look, I've given my life to this. I don't have a normal life because of the things I say. And if I didn't believe him, I would have retracted it a long time ago and said, "Hey, man, I was just kidding. I want to go back to like not being attacked all the time and like people try to kill me and
use
stuff."
Uber.
Yeah, right. Your Airbnb or half of the stuff. So no, I mean, I'm a man on a mission, but right and left, what has that profited anybody? I mean, the right always loses. I think conservatives are losers, and I think that, and by that I mean there's a distinction between right wing and conservative. Conservatism is like an intrinsically like lethargic ideology because all they're really out to do is slow things
They're
down. Like they are
conserving
progressives, they
15
just want
years
to
ago.
slow the rate of what is called progress. I'm a right-wing progressive. I want victories. I want to go forward. So I think conservatives are doofuses, and we can elect as many Republicans as you want. Nothing ever
And
changes.
caller,
It all
please
goes
kill
in the
yourself.
same direction. So I say fuck them. They're useless.
What is your mission?
The mission is we have to have radical change in America. Like America will die in 50 years if we don't radically change everything. Like eradicate feminism, close the borders, bring back the productive capacity of the country, factories, workshops, and have some faith in government. Get an energetic government. Government can work if it's patriotic, but the people in the government don't give a shit. The money has too much influence. I'm a nationalist. I want a real nation, like a real society. But we don't get it by just saying like, hey, we want to like shrink the government and hang out and
hang out,
and do all that.
Get in government, do nothing, and get cash. That's what Congress is.
I mean, it's true. Yeah, I mean, because like the small government stuff is just really cringe. Because it's like I'm definitely in the boat of like big, like the Venezuela thing was like awesome.
Yeah.
Like, but like, yeah, I mean, I do see some dubs. I mean, like one thing that like shows. I think
I like Tim's laugh. It's kind of growing on me. I'm not gonna lie. It's like just so retarded.
Like they've completely capped
wholesome.
refugees, and now it's like only white.
I don't
South
like that he just
Africans.
gets so
Like,
excited.
I do see stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, people are starting to get it to some
When did
degree,
Ian
whether
become
it's because
goated?
of
When
putting
Nick
pressure on the
demanded
admin.
that Ian be
I mean,
on the
what is your
show
response
and
to, like, things
glazed
like
him?
that? 'Cause I do see like stuff
Ian
like that
just
happening.
like
clearly there's been a
glazed back.
disposition change within MAGA or the conservative movement, so to speak.
Well, and don't get me wrong, like Trump's legacy is positive on net all day, and I think it's more owing to. And you're right when you say the rhetoric is better. He's changed the whole tone of everything. Political correctness is dead. Wokeness is dead. The right wing's forever shifted to the right. And illegal immigration, it's funny. It used to be Gang of Eight was pushing amnesty. Rubio was an amnesty guy. That was law. Like, how many illegal immigrants are we going to give amnesty? And now it's like, no illegals. We're getting them all out. And now the conversation is about legal immigration. So Trump has shifted the country right. My only criticism is like, it's all in vain if we don't keep pushing. It has to go further down the field. And I worry that complacency will let the establishment take the initiative and we backslide. That's like my biggest concern.
No, I mean, because that's why I like seeing stuff like that. I mean, not to bring it up again, but like the net negative migration, it's been like 90 years since we were at net negative migration. I think it was like right around the World War.
Mm-hmm.
So I see stuff like that, and I'm just like, I mean, I agree, but as far as like the system as it stands, I feel like those are massive bricks through the window of like chipping away at this like mess that we're in.
I don't even know if I buy that it's net negative. And even if it is, it's like we elected Trump to deport 10 million people at least. So, I mean, that's, to me, I just feel like stuff like that is just too little too late, you know? Mm-hmm. If it takes us to the promised land, okay, but I don't see J.D. Vance doing it if Trump doesn't.
Yeah, I guess that's why it's so important. Like stuff that people perceive as little, but like reforming the refugee sort of system apparatus, like again, bending it towards white South Africans, it forces the conversation of like, well, why them in particular, not Afghans? And then you have to say, well, because they're pretty close to like what that core American, like what it actually means to be an American. And I do think it's like forcing that conversation of what is an American, because then that can
screw the woke is what I say. Amen, brother. Put it here. Put her here.
Answer it.
Well, I know. I just feel like the Trump, without Trump, I don't think we could even have that conversation.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. Like, I'm not against Trumpism as a phenomenon. I just am against, like, Trumpism is a dying movement. There are no new ideas. It's not dynamic. There's no energy. It's filled with grifters that are literally parasites sucking money and life out of everything. And I think that if we
Bill's
don't
looking good. Thank you.
Then Trumpism, like,
it's supposed to be
by Ben Shapiro.
based off the banner. No, not the banner.
Abruptly, some people on X just all
or
of a sudden
brides,
were
whatever the fuck.
Israel.
You know where that blacksmith is in White Run when you walk in?
Yeah, there's a handful of people. Anyone else can say the names. I'm not going to say them, but there's some conservatives that all of a sudden just had these tweets that were like, Israel can do no wrong.
I feel like it was always that way, to be honest.
There are people who, with the Esther Project.
Oh,
this is Wall Street Journal reporting. They spent.
The recent article about the influencers.
Oh, what the geofencing?
They like the roof, Jimmy. Thank you.
I'm like, you insinuated I was paid by Netanyahu by saying governments are hiring people.
Right.
Tim Pool.
Call it the banner drop. Shield Maidens. Yeah,
one after the other. And she's like, well, we didn't mean to do that. But no, there are a handful of conservatives on X that all of a sudden it's like, they're talking about police brutality. They're talking about BLM. And then all of a sudden I see them being like, Israel is the best. These fucking conspiracy, grifters, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, the 7K thing's not wrong,
Oh, yeah, that's real.
Yeah. But it's funny when everyone I get accused of, you say anything that's not Israel derangement syndrome, they say 7K.
It's like so frustrating that it becomes like a litmus test to be like in the gang. I mean, you saw that around like the Kevin Roberts controversy and everything, and I was like, seriously, like this is the litmus test.
I know.
It's just like very obvious what's going on. But I wanted to ask you, like, before we like pivoted, is what do you think? What do you think replaces?
The copper backpacks are bigger than the gold ones. I don't know what's up with that.
What is your prescription like for voters?
We're going to need somebody else. I like Bannon right now as a protest candidate, or, maybe there'll be somebody we don't know about who runs in 28. Who knows? Not me. I'm not alluding to me, but somebody else. And at the minimum, I think we need to reject Vance. I think that Vance is such a betrayal of Trumpism. It makes me sick to my stomach.
What is it about like Vance? Because I see like, again, policy proposals, rhetoric. It seems like a huge upgrade in a lot of regards.
But that's the easiest thing. Like, he knows how to give a speech because he's got someone feeding Bronze Age pervert Twitter into a chat GPT and he's spitting that out in his speeches. And it's like, okay, he gave a speech at Turning Point. But like, the thing about Trump is we know who he is. He like unified the country in 2016 and won the election, created the movement with his will. Vance has like never even had a real job. Like the venture capital career, totally fake. Peter Thiel, like, created his political career, brokered the truce with Trump, gave him 15 mil. And maybe the biggest thing, the real litmus test, were you pro-Trump in 2016? Vance was not. In fact, he was a never-Trumper, said Trump was Hitler, voted for the CIA agent. And it's like, and he wasn't a kid. He was like 30 or something. So it's like, if you don't know that Trump is the guy in 2016 at age 30, you're right. He wrote a letter to Obama in January 17 and said, the reason conservatives hated Obama is because they're jealous of how cerebral and intelligent he is, and they hate that a black man is smarter than them. Vance wrote this. Like, who the fuck does that? And he married an Indian. I know people say I'm racist for saying that. It's a very specific type of white guy that goes to Yale and marries like a first-gen West Coast Indian princess from, you know, Indian royalty, and goes to a interreligious wedding ceremony. Like, what kind of Reddit beta male chud does that?
I think he's
Sarah
just a millennial, to be fair.
Stock married it
Okay,
both.
well, and then people want to say,
Whoa.
oh, he's so fucking based. It's like, since when? 2 years ago when like Thiel made him the vice president?
When he started posting naughty words on X.
Yeah, when he started saying shit. I'm just a regular white dude. What the fuck? Like, that's every Vance tweet. It's like so performative. So he's scum.
I just think like if he can pick up on the Trump immigration policy and move it down the football, like move the football down the field. Like, I mean, to a degree, I think that's like useful for what we're trying to do. Just again, compared to the other options that are going to be there in 20, it's going to be, you know, Cruz.
Nah,
or
Newsom's the
Rubio.
right guy because he'll be anti-Israel,
Hell
right?
Yeah, and he's handsome.
It is going to be Newsom.
I don't want an ugly president.
I honestly
We got
think,
we got one more caller
Okay,
though.
yeah,
So
sorry.
Noah, did you want to add anything or shout anything out?
No, the only thing I wanted to add was the other question I had posted was I think the nation was better off whenever we had Freemasons at the helm, but you know, people like Truman and Ford and Washington himself. But thank you, that was a much more in-depth answer than I was expecting to get. So I appreciate you, Nick. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, man.
Amen. Amen.
Thanks for calling in, brother.
Amen, brother.
All right, last up we got Wheezy.
Yo.
What's going on?
Is there no rest for the widow's son?
I want to talk to
Amen,
you guys,
brother.
or ask you a question rather, about the man of the day, Don Lemon. Is there a reality where the arrest of Don Lemon doesn't fuel the left? Even if they show every single clip, which clearly, like, he can get caught on the charges that they want him to. You're showing two movies on the same screen. He's planning on taking the defense of, well, they're targeting me because I'm a gay black man. Half the country's going to take that for gospel. So does any good come out of it if it does fuel the left?
Good point.
Just it finally cracks down on them?
Well, I think the slap on the wrist is the best way to diffuse any kind of counter protest or any kind of protests. If they put him in jail for 6 months, there's people be out on the street. It'd be annoying as hell.
I disagree with all of that. I think that they need to go and do as much as they possibly can, throw the book at him. And I don't think that anyone will get out and protest specifically because of Don Lemon. I think they're going to be out protesting anyways, and it'll be just another name that they're complaining about.
Free Don Lemon!
Yeah, I think you got to fight the left.
Free
And I almost
Don!
want to
Free
invite,
Don!
confrontation with the left because, you know, in any war, you need to control the escalation ladder. You need escalation dominance, meaning you have like the final veto button, you have the checkmate. And like the left is so bold, they have to kind of like decisively be confronted and lose. So like arrest Don Lemon, let him protest, let him react, crush them too. You know, and you got to keep pushing until they stop getting up, and then you break the insurrection. So they
Break
have
their
to
back.
decisively be
Let's fucking go.
Otherwise, it's
Let's
mob
go.
rule, you know, because that's really what it is. They're like vetoing the ICE protests by blocking them with their cars, showing up at churches. Like, it doesn't stop if you lay down. That's the bit. You can't show weakness.
That's the lesson that we should have learned with 2020. Like, this stuff is going on now because everything was allowed in 2020 when they were doing the Floyd riots, and they were rioting, right? Like, it wasn't. These are
Rest in peace.
At the very least, these are still just protests, right? They're getting kind of uppity and fighting and stuff, but they're not burning down businesses. They're not throwing Molotov cocktails.
Dude,
It's
why are
not
they
the
all
riots
skeletons?
like 2021.
Die.
And I think that, like, you have to make sure that you don't let it get to that point. I think they should be as forceful as possible, or not as possible, as forceful as necessary to put this to bed.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, if you don't arrest Don Lemon, they're going to say, we can do whatever we want. If you do arrest him, they say, oh, no, we're under attack. We should do whatever we want. So then okay, arrest him. Like, if we're going to fight, we're going to fight.
Yep, 100%.
He did break a law, too.
Bro, I'm trying to teach Brent how to
Will
use
Chamberlain tweeted out like 4
the recipe
different laws he broke.
thing.
It's like, just take your pick. Like, it's in the code. So,
does that answer your question?
Well, I want to follow up on that. And
Sure.
So, you know, I'm agreeing with you guys that we
What's
just
that?
got to throw the book at them. But I also kind of wonder, and this would be an olive branch. You know, like we said, we've got 4 crimes that you can get them on. You can pick them all, or you could stack up to years if you really wanted to.
If you
alternatively, what if you commute his sentence at the end of Trump's term? It's an olive branch, but it gets slapped at.
If you offer them an olive branch, they will sharpen it and stick it in your throat. Like, not kidding around.
And they won't share the olives with you.
They won't. They won't. I'm not kidding around, dude. The left is not playing. They're not playing at all. Like, all the stuff that Nick was saying, like, I understand his perspective. I don't want to be that black-pilled, because if he's right, I think there are going to be tons of people put in jail. I think Nick's going to jail, honestly. I think that they will be doing I think they'll probably come after Tim. I don't think they'll come after me. Well, yeah, I mean, but what I mean is, again, or, try and put you in jail. I don't think they'll come after me because I'm co-host guy, but they might come after me. They're going to go scorched earth. They might even go after people like Joe Rogan. Like, it is going to be an absolute shit show. And they're saying that they're going to do that. So, like, there's no reason to give them quarter. That's why, like, for a while I was like, no, don't blow up the filibuster. F that. Blow up the filibuster. Blow up the filibuster. Do everything you can to push the left as far back as possible, because when they get into power, they're going to blow up the filibuster. They're probably going to try and add states. They're going to try and expand the court, and they're going to try to make sure that they consolidate power so there's never anything even close to a conservative again. They thought that they won when Barack Obama was elected. They thought from now on, this is essentially the end of history again. We're going to have Democrats forever. It'll be Hillary Clinton, then blah, 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 blah. And the Republicans are going
not
to be
Tim, no.
relegated
Did I
to
miss the texting segment? Jimbo still has to keep going.
That's what they
True.
thought was going to happen. That's part of the reason why they freaked the fuck out when Donald Trump won.
Well,
because
Phil's going
everybody
off.
thought that Donald Trump couldn't win. They thought he was
Phil's
a joke.
going
They thought the
off?
Republicans were over because they had
My
people like Mitt
goat?
Romney who were basically just fucking Democrats, or at least the
Ooh, strawberries?
most milquetoast fucking conservatives that you could imagine. They thought they had it all, and then they realized, holy shit, we don't. That's why you got the reaction. If
They're
get
coming after
into a
Beardson
position of
next, the
authority
bleaching
again,
Happers
it's gonna
party.
be
Now
what,
we're talking.
What happened during the Biden administration turned up to fucking 10.
Put it
is
here.
going to be an absolute shit show, and it is possible that they will make a permanent majority, permanent Democrat establishment the way that they've done in California. California can't elect fucking Republicans to actual state level seats.
I think they're going after Ian first.
Get him.
Yeah,
I'm voting Democrat
They're
now.
going to ask me to be their candidate. Actually,
They're going to say we need to make an example because terror only works when people think they can be victims of it.
They have
and
to
if
hurt-
you go after the highest profile individuals, regular people feel like it's not going to affect them and they can keep their heads down.
They'll get in because the innocent must
terrorists,
suffer.
If you're listening at home, this is what happens if you hang out with people that are black pilled.
The reason why terrorists
get arrested.
The reason why terrorists target random civilians, maybe like a venue or something, is because the purpose of the terror is to say you regular person.
Yep.
No one knows who you are. You will die.
You're still vulnerable.
When you assassinate a world
They're going
leader,
to
they go,
mandate
well, he was
Veda
president.
to
He's a world leader.
transition.
He's a politician.
Finally.
When the terror attacks target
Beardson
normies,
Phil,
the normies freak out
Labonte,
and vote
Jim
accordingly.
Stream. No way.
You know, I do. I don't think that just withholding the olive branch across the board from anyone that is politically left of you is necessarily the right way forward. I don't think it's not a monolith of humans, and I don't know. I'm kind of on the left myself. My family is too, but there are psychopaths that will sharpen it and stick you in the face with it. So you just
Right.
gotta discern.
I'm talking.
Amen.
Like I'm not talking about like if your mom or dad or whatever are on the left and they're fairly normie or whatever. That's not the actual threat. It's if you're giving the activists any kind of quarter, if you're giving the people that are in Minneapolis government, I'm glad to see that
Okay.
Waltz is under indictment.
I see.
That Jacob Frey is, or at least under investigation. I don't think they've actually had indictments yet.
11.
But I'm glad to see they're under investigation. I want to see indictments of those two guys. They have facilitated all the bullshit that's going
Okay.
on. They've been telling
I need to take a
people to go
picture
out
of
there
this.
and
Hold on.
roll dice. They've been telling people those guys need to see serious ramifications for the things that they've done. Like, because if you don't, just like Nick was saying earlier, if you don't, they're just going to continue.
where?
There is no world where weakness is met with sympathy or anything.
Whatever.
You have
Okay.
to be
Sorry.
strong.
On full
You
screen.
have to show that you are going to fight them, and you have to make sure that when you fight, you're successful. Because if you don't, they will see it as weakness and they will fucking kill you.
Yep. No half measures.
Facts.
And we're already barking up that tree with the redistricting stuff.
Yeah,
We're
the
already-
Indiana.
Yep.
Okay.
Fuck.
It's off to the races, and it's an arms race.
Remember when Joel Webben
Like,
called
so
for
every
Waltz to be
year,
executed?
Every 10 years, you take the
Or,
census, and then you apportion the electoral
or,
votes, the congressional seats. They're doing this mid-decade thing 5 years in where they're saying, well,
Time
now
to
we're
use
gonna
firing
gerrymander
squads.
all the districts in Texas, and we're going to basically milk as many electoral votes, or rather congressional seats out of it
Cox
as
picks have
possible,
been
make this
taken.
favorable for Republicans.
No,
So
no,
Republican states
no.
are
I was
doing
checking
this.
what time
so it's
something
only
is.
Republicans in Texas, Democrats are
Oh.
doing it. So it's only Democrats in California, each trying to optimize. Like, okay, we control the state government of Texas. Let's make every seat a Republican seat, and trying to milk out,
someone's
+3, +4 seats. And
Parent
Republican and
enjoyers.
Democrat states are both doing it. And it's basically like the system has no integrity. Everyone is just manipulating the laws as much
Facts.
as possible to get as much advantage.
Facts,
and
though.
once you start barking up that tree, it's like there's no off-ramp where you say, all right, everybody,
Dude, where's the
truce.
damn
Like,
mines?
this
Where are the
isn't us.
untapped mines?
Let's obey the Constitution. Like, we can't gerrymander anymore. Like, no, we're down that path. The only way out is
Someone
through.
please find me a
And so Indiana
Elytra.
had the chance of
For the love of all
gerrymandering
that is
because
good,
Republicans in Indiana
someone
voted
get me a
against
pair
it,
of Elytra.
right? So they said no, they didn't do it. So they dropped the fucking ball.
This game is
And
unplayable
then
and you have to run.
Virginia, as soon as they fucking got into office 10 days ago or whatever, they start passing no bullshit fucking laws. They've essentially made it so that
Beta
way
doesn't know
Democrats are gonna
politics. If he
fucking run
actually
with
knew, he'd be
Virginia forever because they
Ubermensch
elected
tranny.
an AG
Yeah.
that said, "Oh,
There's a
we'll
lot of truth
fucking
in that
kill your
statement, Cheese.
kids to make you change your vote," and they elected a Democrat governor. And it's like that's right there's the evidence. Indiana, they didn't do shit.
It's like Hightail if it was
Fucking-
boring.
In Virginia,
What is
the Democrats fucking came
what do
in
you
and
do other
kicked
than just
everyone's
like
fucking ass?
It's like
fight
an arms
mobs
race.
in
Like if you refuse
Hightail?
to use the chemical weapon,
Yeah.
like
I mean, like
the
I
chemical
used to
weapon's
be.
going to kill everyone.
This
so,
is
like, how
exactly
can you
why.
Are there
this is why
machines?
I'm not a libertarian anymore.
Hell yeah.
Look at this.
Let's go.
I was a libertarian for a long time, and
What is
like,
that?
after the George Floyd riots, I was like, I don't
Yo,
know.
what
man.
is
I feel
that?
Fucking like someone's going to exercise power, right? And if
Digital
someone's gonna
miner?
exercise power. I want it to
Wait,
be
he's
people
mining
that
like
are gonna do shit
Bitcoin?
that I like, not people that are gonna fucking do shit. that I like.
Seriously?
Yep.
Real.
Based.
Here, here.
Go off, King.
Whoa. Alcohol is mining
anyone, to your call?
Bitcoin.
Add anything or shut anything out?
Oh
I would like to clarify real quick. I'm not going easy on him. I want to see Don Lemon in a cage for 2 years. We can send him home for Christmas 2028.
Yo, what did I just stumble upon?
Maybe
What?
he might enjoy his time in prison too much. But the main thing I want to say
Maybe just a protracted kangaroo trial where he spends hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove his innocence, and then finally he gets off.
Then he goes to a woman's prison.
Can you imagine?
There you go. That's actually.
Well, yeah, he would hate that.
Oh, look, I was working on this. I'm gonna build a giant fortress over here, but I haven't had
I
time.
wanted to tell Nick something.
I want to work on the
I'm
city.
not a regular watcher.
But
of your
here's the
show,
beginning
but,
of the
people
outline
may
that
not
I've been
like
setting
you,
up.
But you've been really composed on all your recent appearances. I've seen you on Piers. I've seen you on Crowder.
Just look, it's like an island.
Tonight show. I want to say you've definitely earned more.
It's gonna look cool.
And when people share things out of context, I'm looking to see if it's uncharitable, and I'm going for the root.
Dude, the Tim Pool fans are such fucking cornballs. Holy shit.
Wow. Well,
Shut
thank you, man. I
up.
appreciate that.
You seem to have moderated.
Glazing,
that's the talking
but
point everyone's been saying.
Fuck
you. I don't know if that's really true.
Watch
I
Tim
think what
Pool
happened
kill
is
yourself.
that everyone believed the
You're a Tim Pool
worst
super
smears
fan?
about me.
Yeah.
And then as I
You
got
should be put
bigger,
in
people
prison.
started taking a little more notice and saying, okay, what's this guy about? They saw the clips and they said, oh, okay, that was a joke. Or, oh, that's what he really believes. Because I think all my views are basically the same.
Did you say the craziest shit when you were young?
I will say I was very rambunctious when I was younger.
I said the most insane. I said racist, sexist, just cruel jokes. I would say when I was 16, 17, 18. But there's before the internet. If I had internet video, it'd be fucking video of me saying that shit to get a laugh out of my friends and stuff. And like, that's not who I am. That was like 14 years later.
It's on me, dog. That's on me.
Like if Hoi 4 logs.
It's you. That's you.
Nick, when you say that you don't want women to vote, right? Women shouldn't vote. Do you think that that's
We should put them in labor camps, Phil. That's what we're saying.
I don't think
I'm the moderator on this one.
Yeah, like I think that
Holocaust.
voting should be like a privilege for an
Women's.
exclusive few. Like you should own property and own a business. It's not enough to be like women can't vote. I think it'd be okay for some women to vote in
okay.
You know, again, if you own property or something like that. But I think that you have to actually have
fucking simp.
I don't think that it's enough to just say
Holy
women can't
shit.
vote. I think that it has to be way more people.
Dude,
than just
Phil, I thought you were gonna call for a female
It's funny you say that. I
Holocaust.
said that exact same thing. Like, that's my
really?
argument, too.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, at the minimum, maybe the House can have all the plebs vote, okay? The women, the minorities, immigrants,
Don't bitch out.
poor.
Don't bitch out.
You're moderating. Maybe I am, yeah. But the problem is there's, like, no balance against the plebs. And I agree with you. It's like, you know, because if you're some, like, let's say you're some 18-year-old punk that doesn't own anything.
Wasn't that how, like, Rome was set up? Didn't they literally, like, have
especially nowadays,
different
like, when it comes to,
classes
like,
vote for
young people
different
that, like,
parts of the
you know,
government?
It is pretty hard to find a job for young people.
Wait, did I
that
just
don't
hit a
have
friendly
anything. Why the fuck do they
Enderman?
give a fuck about property rights?
Yeah,
I
right.
don't fucking own anything.
Exactly,
man.
exactly.
You know,
I'm so sorry, Enderman. That was fucked up. You scared me. I saw a black person.
No, they should let racially insensitive podcasters be the only.
I will hug you next time I see you.
I think like we could really carve something nice out of it.
Ian's too racially sensitive.
Ian, you're
who they are.
You're too nice. Too John
Well, I don't
Lennon's
know,
Imagine.
when he criticized the Jews as a culture and a religion and told them how they need to behave, he qualifies.
I do it with a smile. Yeah, trust me.
All right. It's time for bed.
Yeah, it's
Wheezy, did you want to add anything or shout anything out?
Nope, that last bit was it. Thank you guys. See you around.
Dude, I need more shit to just fucking zog
does
out
it for
to.
tonight's
Unless
show. I don't know who we have on tomorrow. We posted it on Instagram.
some loser, some loser bitch. I don't know who she is.
So thank you all so much for hanging out. We're back tomorrow morning, of course. And Nick, it's been great hanging out. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Great show.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Dude, I can't wait for the Amy Dangerfield interview. That's going to be really insightful. Gosh. I'm dying to know what she thinks. Am I right? Am I right, fellas? Who else? Tim Goat? Sayonara, Tim Goat.